The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Friday, September 17th, 2021. Thank you so much for joining us. I want us to take in consideration the impact and the result of the intentional obtuseness, the ignorance of this moment. People are paying with their lives. They're paying with their bodies, confronting COVID-19 head on without a vaccine as a badge of nobility. And we're seeing the results reverberate all across the country. Let's discuss that today at great lengths. But first, on the clock. I'm in for Georgia Fort this morning, and I'm joined by none other than Brother Anthony Galloway. He is our friend of the show. He is our resident. I want to say biblical official would be probably accurate because of the accuracy that you bring in terms of not only a historical perspective, but also a theological perspective. Brother Anthony, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want us to begin with the story from the Boston Globe that is showing that COVID-19, the coronavirus, is the leading cause of deaths amongst police officers in the first 6 months of 2021. And this is a result in many cases of, the rejection, the wholesale rejection. We're seeing this not only in policing agencies, we're seeing it in healthcare agencies. There's an entire group of people who have rejected the idea of the vaccine so much so they're committed to it almost as a statement of faith, even unto death. There's a lot of sides to it, but at a glance, when you see these people across the country who have a commitment to being anti-vaccination or at least anti-COVID-19 vaccination, what are your thoughts in terms of the kind of commitment and what it requires? Because in some cases, it is requiring death.
Well, speaking of Colorado, the Colorado, what was the Colorado Health Institute has an article that talks about the overlay between politics and COVID vaccine hesitancy. And so, when you overlay those two things together, police unions across the country have been extremely politicized in ways that nursing unions and firefighter unions and other frontline workers who all have been, screaming about the fact that they're on the front line. I mean, we have legislation and financial support for frontline workers because we knew they would be more exposed and more at risk. And this is one of those areas where the politicization of policing and the engagement around that is interfering, right? It's interfering with the natural trajectory elsewhere. And so in all the places where we have where we have a politicization happening, we then become susceptible to the effects of that type of politicization. And I see this as one of those overlapping areas. I should say one of the things I'm curious about is in areas where the police have better relationships with community and less politicization, particularly of the police union, if those dates and those rates are different. That's one of the questions that come to mind when I see data like this.
I'm thinking about the police unions, as you stated, and I think that's actually the perfect way to understand this, right? Because of the politicization of the policing unions, and to be sure, it's a particular politicization. We're talking about the right-wing adjacent nature of the policing unions, and that's being very kind to them. That right-wing ideology that they are either complicit with, participants of, or simply adjacent to, that is the ideology that is at the core of the push to maximize the impact of COVID-19. I mean, honestly, it's not as though the Democrats and liberals have this right, because there's some criticisms about how they're currently handling it that they should be held accountable to. But when we see the amount of people who are refusing the vaccine, there is a complete overlap. The Venn diagram, there's an overlap between those people, the people who marched up the steps January 6th, and everything else that we're seeing right now.
on that point, I stay attuned to our state in Minnesota. We have the luxury of being in a place where we're on target to get to a 75+% vaccination rate as a state. And so, we get a little buffered from some of the effects elsewhere without stories from folks kind of cutting through. So a lot of our frontline issue now is trying to get to folks who are looking at our situation and not realizing that elsewhere we are on track to be like other places if we don't stay ahead, if we don't stay on track. And what was interesting coming up with that is how much these our experts, our frontline folks, are having to continue to remind folks that the numbers are so ridiculously clear about who's dying from this. It is the unvaccinated. And we can't lose sight of that. The unvaccinated are the ones who are dying at the moment, and unfortunately, that includes children who we are now realizing are not as resilient as we like to tout earlier, because we're looking for any ray of hope. And so, what gets lost, the first thing that gets lost when we cloud with the political tribalism that we have kind of gone into, right, which is connected to hopelessness, which is connected to the stress of the situation. I mean, all those things, in all of those situations historically, folks begin to cling to things that are against logic, right, or against rationale or against reason, and these are patterns that we're seeing absolutely now. So I would offer, that in addition to the political overlay, we also see the stress overlay that causes a whole lot of different things. Now, oftentimes our frontline workers turn to self-harm. We know that rates for suicide and other things amongst police officers and law enforcement, all that, are extremely high as well.
Wow.
This is, to me, this is part of that same continuing process.
I want to expand the conversation a little bit and bring in more evidence of people who are committed to this thing. Like I never would have guessed that people would be committed to a political ideology, or however we will properly categorize it momentarily. But I want to play this clip that discusses 7 radio hosts, conservative radio hosts, and high-profile anti-science advocates have died from COVID-19. I mean, they were on the radio one week preaching against the vaccine, and then a few weeks later, this many have died. Let's take a listen in.
Right-wing radio host is truly gunning for the most dangerous job in America title. At least 7 radio hosts and high-profile anti-mask and anti-vaccine advocates have died from COVID-19 in just the past few weeks. Before catching the virus, the conservative crusaders had shared conspiracy theories about vaccines, told supporters misinformation about the virus, and even held rallies in opposition to mask mandates. And it's this kind of misinformation that has resulted in these sickening, sobering, and largely preventable stats. 1 in 500 Americans have now died from COVID-19. The virus is currently killing roughly 1,900 Americans per day on average, a 33% jump over the past 2 weeks. The overwhelming majority of those deaths are among the unvaccinated. Wow.
And I'm looking at the video and recognize Phil Valentine, conservative radio host. He wrote a book. I read the book, and the writing was ideologically off, but it was sound. It was reasonable. It was a mind of a thinker. He didn't think this one through, and I'm wondering if it falls right along the lines of what you're discussing, Brother Anthony. It is that hyper politicization, this moment that we're in, where people are clinging to that to their own detriment.
Well, and this again cyclical throughout history, right? And so unfortunately we have a tendency to give in to defend our ideologies and our ideals as an American right. And I think this is a very important piece, that the soundness of our patriotism, right, or our need for an identity can get in the way. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have an identity, but if we, I'll give this perfect example, right? When across the state, I do conversations, racial consciousness development discourse in parts of the state and in parts of the country, and I find that when folks have a strong, healthy identity space, all right, I'm less defensive, right? If I know my identity, I know where I come from, I know I'm connected to a people's, I know that there's a community that has me and grounds me, and I can talk to it, point to it. I'm less likely to be super defensive about anything that comes against that, because I have a root, right? I think there's a huge issue right now because our national patriotism as a sole purpose, a sole piece of identity, then requires a type of hyper defensism that'll take anything that can be perceived as a challenge at all.
That's it.
And it allows politicization to take me all the way into a space of illogic, even amongst people who are rational thinkers. Yeah. And so, this is a challenge that we have that unfortunately is intersecting at this moment where things don't need to be political at all. And folks are changing their tune. One of the things that we also have seen over and over time is that when folks are affected by a particular cause or situation, change happens. For a long time, we had no interest in addressing education for girls in our society, right? But the fact that we are connected to girls allowed for a change in education policies that changed a huge inequity there. We don't seem to have in our segregated society the same impulse when it comes to racial equity issues. And we also see this in the COVID space too, in places where I hadn't been affected, people in parts of America that are more conservative and that are in more rural areas where there's less people and things like that. Remember, in the beginning of this vaccine, we're like, it's not affecting us. And they were using that as a reason to say that this is not a big deal. Epidemiologists were saying, okay, you need to understand that, just wait, because it's just not to you yet. And then we're seeing now the fruits of that complacency. And I can either accept it as it is and deal with the hard reality of it, or I can create a reality where I don't have to experience or accept all of those things. And unfortunately, that was taken advantage of by the political right.
Woo. You know, man, the great thing about this show and having you here as a guest is that I do believe I've cultivated an audience that is capable of clinging to every word that you just said. Because I did. And brother, you are spitting the absolute gospel truth here. And I want to actually go on a tangent for a second, if you don't mind, based on something that you said at the very beginning of this. You're saying that something happens when this system detects an anomaly. Mm-hmm. It does everything it possibly can to crush it, even the suspension of logic and reason, even unto death. And I was thinking about that this morning in my meditations. About my meditations. I was thinking about the gravity of it all. It's like we're trying to escape this infinite density of the massiveness of ignorance that's required to sustain white supremacy and imperialism. It is creating this vortex of ignorance that it seems like we cannot escape from. And what I heard you saying is that is not a bug. It sounds like that is a feature of the system.
Well, I love. There's a local theologian, and I'm just gonna go there, because you're bringing me down the philosophy space. So there's a local theologian named Dee McIntosh, and she came to one of my seminary classes in Black theology, and she gave us this term called ontological shame. Now I'm not going to try to go in default that, but shame has two responses, and you took it down a tangent, so I'm going to go down that tangent for a second. One of the reasons why predators that we have to look out for use shame amongst children is because shame creates this response that either I address the real hard truth and reality of my current situation, or your brain will actually create a whole new system and environment in which I never encountered that trauma or never encountered that shame and don't have to deal with the reality of that. And then if I can create that new universe, then I ride that until I can't anymore. And this is why you have folks who were abused as children and have no recollection of that abuse. And then all of a sudden something triggers and clicks in their 20s and 30s and 40s. And then that whole memory comes flooding back. And predators use this in order to get kids not to self-report about their harm. Now, I'm going to extrapolate that a little bit. We have a national shame, a whole lot of reasons, and we have practiced trying to create whole new realities where that thing never existed. This is where I can go back and try to say that it's not a slave trade, it's a triangular trade. Let's not call them slaves, let's call them workers. Let's do all of these things, because a lot of times it's easier to create a new reality than to deal with the reality of the shame that we have. That has been baked into our response. So instead of dealing with the hard truths, what did South Africa do in 1994 at the end of apartheid? They started the Institute for Democracy in South Africa, the Ubuntu framing and ideology, and they were going to be doing truth and reconciliation. Yeah. What did Germany eventually do as a stance? You go into Germany and you do anything to deny Holocaust, boom. The people are going to vehemently oppose you, because they told the truth, and they are unabashedly about telling the truth of that experience. And so I think we are in a space where we are continuing to run in the shame response to create a reality where we don't have to address the reality of that shame. And so we are not practiced in dealing with the real. And I think in the pandemic, we are leading, we are a national disgrace when it comes to pandemic responses. And instead of dealing with the reality of the choices we didn't make and didn't do, and just bucking up and taking and addressing it and facing and owning up to it, we want to create a whole bunch of other subterfuge and other things that have allowed us to focus in a space that's not real. And so you interrupt logic in that space. And so that's my reading of it in terms of our historical pattern.
Man. Yeah. We're here with Brother Anthony Galloway, and we are discussing the implications of the overwhelming amount of ignorance and the irrationality that is required to sustain this system. And we are at critical mass. We're at critical mass where I think we are looking at an inflection point of whether or not we can survive this moment of sheer ignorance or feigned ignorance or pretend anger, faux outrage. One of the things that I think dovetails into this conversation also is the technology component of it, because it often comes to mind to me that not only are we fighting against these systems and this wickedness in high places, but we're also fighting against the algorithm in many ways. It sounds like you're ready to jump in there, but there's a clip here from Mark Zuckerberg, and it kind of juxtaposes the reality of what we know is happening in the social media realm, and how it is complicit with everything that we just got through discussing. And yet he's trying to spin it as something else. Let's run it.
Research that we've seen is that using social apps to connect with other people can have positive mental health benefits and well-being benefits.
Internally, Instagram's research has shown that 32% of teen girls said that when they felt bad about their bodies, Instagram made them feel worse.
It's very short, but it's to the point. On one side, you have Mark Zuckerberg talking about the positive effects of social media. On the other side, we have the data as it pertains to what's going on with social media and Instagram and this effect. But I want to underlie it with this. While we're being sold this bill of goods, the impact of what social media, the algorithm, and how that connectivity that could be used for good, mind you, I think we all can understand the good that can be used by the connectivity that we get through social media. What we've seen throughout this pandemic, we've seen QAnon, we have seen the Proud Boys. We've seen all of these contingencies that understand that manipulative factor that you're discussing, Brother Anthony, and they use social media and that interconnectivity, and they use the algorithm to get to the top of the national conversation. And now we're not dealing with people who simply are dregs of society with their conspiracy theories on some fringe outskirt of civilization. We're dealing with people with massive influence, large platforms. We're dealing with people with social media empires, and we're dealing with organizations like Facebook, quite frankly, who don't mind making the money off of all of the chaos that ensues underneath. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, and the responsibility for the fact that the truth, the data. This is one of the challenges that we have here, is that we have platforms that now can elevate things that critical thinking can't catch up with. And I'll also offer that there are folks who have really good critical thinking caps, but now because I can elevate something that is so unfactual and unbased in things, all I have to do is really make a logical, a seemingly logical argument within a bubble.
Yeah.
And then I can rise to this same occasion. I want to talk about, you said something earlier that just struck me in terms of algorithm. Now you got my brain spinning, right? So that algorithm just takes the patterns and reproduces them and kicks out something over and over again. And eventually that algorithm leaves the control zone. So I can't control for the misinformation that gets sucked up into that algorithmic vacuum. And so now, if I've got insecurity, I can heighten it. I think your clip spoke to that when it talked about girls' response to how Twitter makes them feel. I see this amongst young men in my mentorship programs and things like that. There's a deep insecurity that can get co-opted by these things. And now I've got a platform where I can get access to your insecurities faster. I can get access to your lack of information faster. I can get access to all of these different things. And so I think though all of those pieces are exacerbated. And I think the question really is legitimate. What is the responsibility of folks who have the capacity to say, no, that's not, I mean, you start to see those little messages pop up on Facebook now.
Yeah.
So as soon as somebody mentions coronavirus, hey, here's a warning. Can we go as far as to be able to say, not only is this not true, but here's the corresponding data. The challenge we have is that folks we are now questioning even the veracity of hard-won, researched, earned truth. Yes. And so they're without that control, what happens? The only other thing I'll say here is that this has to be buttressed with what's happening in local community space. And so education amongst not just school systems, but from a church standpoint, education is going to be huge. At one point, my theological training and preparation for church spaces was way more focused on the people and on the biblical teachings and theological stances. I am now having to do much more training around education. Because we are finding that we are now going to be going back to a space where we have to help make sure folks understand that you get just how to think again, how to what sources of information to be rely on, because folks are now distrusting of the very sources that are solid because of the algorithmic nature of challenge. So it just keeps churning up all these new ways of having to deal with educating the next generation.
Whew, brother, we have struck at the core of the matter, right? We've kind of saddled this well, and we got to take a break. Can you stay with us for at least one more segment to unpack this? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back with more of the Benjamin Dixon Show. Good morning to Sister Georgia Fort, who has the day off, and we want to just salute her and all of her excellence. And thank you, Brother Anthony Galloway, for this insight. When we come back, the Benjamin Dixon Show continues. But for now, we're turning it over to the hands of none other than DJ Exclusive. We'll be back after this.
Say it again, say it again. You're saying you're sorry, so say it again. Only you can make my world go black. Say you love me, then you take it back. Say it again, say it again. You want my forgiveness, so say it again. You're my thunder, my
because that was on mute. That's why. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm just talking and I'm just muted. Good morning, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We got more coming up on the Benjamin Dixon Show. Y'all, good morning, everybody. Get a 9. Good morning to you. Good morning. Long time no see. Good to have you here this morning. Good morning to you.
I'm not gonna worry. No, I'm not giving sorry.
Alicia, good morning. Peter Lowe, good morning, y'all. Barbara, good morning. Brother Lateef, good morning. I know, right? Good morning, Brandy. Good morning, everybody. Sassy Jazzy, I see you. Melanie Dennis, good morning.
You're saying you feel bad, so say it again. Only you can do that. My heart was open wide. I could feel it breaking.
Barbara, good morning. Mid-doctors, good morning. One Source Production, good morning, everybody. Shoot the Dragon, good morning. Mark S., what's going on, brother? Good morning. Happy Friday, y'all. Good morning, Mama and Daddy. Good morning. Love y'all. Roll the Dragon, good morning. Series Catch X, good morning to you. Mid Doctors, I already know. Good morning to y'all. If y'all see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone. They got to charge it up real quick. So. Susan, good morning, Susan. Mark S., thank you for your super chat. Mark S. says, what are a beatboxer's 8 favorite things? Mark S., what is it? I'm kind of scared. Melanie Dennis, I appreciate you. Trying to do a little bit, just a little bit. He say boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and boots. Boots and cats and boots and cats. I can't stand you, Marquez. Y'all, good morning, everybody. Good morning, y'all. Make sure you get your tea, your coffee, your drink, whatever it is you need to get your morning started, y'all. We got more coming up next. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Laura Estrada, good morning, sister.
Just want your time. I just want your time.
Shoot the Dragon, I appreciate y'all.
I need your time. 365, 24/7, I'll be fine.
All right, y'all. Y'all stay tuned. We got more coming up now from the Benjamin Dixon Show. Let's get to it, y'all. Good morning.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. It is Friday, September 17th, 2021. I am joined, as always, by none other than my brother from another mother, DJ Exclusive. How are you this morning, man?
I'm good, fellas. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing good. And that the other fella in that fellas plural is none other than Anthony Galloway, philosopher extraordinaire, historian extraordinaire, and a man of the cloth, man, a man of faith. Glad to have you here. How are you, man?
Appreciate you all.
Now, quiet as is kept, everybody else who's watching clearly knows that I'm not too far from the cloth, being a man of the cloth. But as that movie Contact said, I had the man part right, not so much the cloth part. But I digress.
Matthew McConaughey. Okay.
Right.
All right, we're in good company. Listen, we kind of jumped into some deep we jumped into some deeper questions here, and why not? I mean, we cover the news every single day. We stay on top of the news. Let's just go left and shout out to our producer David, who has crafted a magnificent show for us with wonderful clips that we may not get to, because I think we've struck at the core question here, man. When we were considering that last clip of Mark Zuckerberg talking about how social media is so good, you actually brought up something that I think is core. It's almost like they've created a dilemma, and they created an insecure. Social media creates an insecurity that doesn't naturally have to be there. And I hadn't thought about it like that until you just said it, because not only did they create the dilemma of a new insecurity, they've come in and now it's whoever gets to you first. Whoever gives you and feels that sense of emptiness that you have, it doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. Once they get you, you have a new community and they got you. Help us unpack that a little more, Anthony.
So I think the thought for me is more so around the exposure of the insecurity that's already there. And I think we underestimate, the things that counterbalance that. I just don't see the huge shifts and swings from folks who have strong personal collective identity. It seems counterintuitive, but I don't grow in defensiveness when I grow in my identity. And when I say that, let me be clear when I'm saying that, right? If I know that I can make a mistake and that's not going to completely unseat and change and destroy my entire world, I'm much more likely to be willing to wade into that area. On one of the challenges I see in the social media space is it's so quick to take something that could be a learning moment, right, and move it into an immediate moment for dismissal, all right, or say that this is what you should look like and this is what you don't. Or in a space where I'm already facing insecurity, I can go onto a space and say, oh, I can transport the hits. I can transport the amount of people who are looking at me to correlate that to, well, I have this many followers, therefore I am X, Y, and Z. Even with outside of that, I may not have any of the relational fiber that's still there.
Okay, so it's exploiting the existing insecurities and man, James, like I saw you nodding your head as we were discussing this, because I feel that, man. It's so hard doing what we do. Even I can't imagine being a younger person who grew up before social media, right? Because it's just not so much because of the technology, and I'm old and I'm a boomer when it comes to, but really I'm glad that I had a space to grow up without the exploitation of my insecurities, where one thing wrong on the internet and it goes viral, man, it's like your entire world and the rest of your life is framed. It's just terrifying to be a kid and being a young person, or even being an adult for that matter, in this social media world.
Absolutely. You absolutely right. And I'm glad, like, growing up, we didn't have to go through that. I mean, we came in right at the forefront. We ushered in all the technology things, cell phones, internet, social media. We ushered in all of that. So a lot of the things that they are facing now, thank God we didn't have to face. I mean, I don't look at social media like that as a big platform. I mean, it's a big platform, but I don't look at something that's going to determine my life or make me feel like it needs to be part of my life, like a lot of these millennials or youngsters do. It's like with them, it's everything for them. So if they get one dislike or if they get 1,000 dislikes, it feels like their whole world is just crumbling down. Yeah. And I'm glad we don't have to go through that. At least not us anyway. Me anyway.
that hyper visibility, right? You could
yes.
I can stay out the camera light and have some room. This is one of the challenges that I have, because part of my task, my job and call in life is to get folks talking again. And if all the oxygen has been vacated out the room because of this, it's everything's hyper visible, I don't have any room to play with the nuance and the margins, and so. I have to completely defend that. And one of the things that comes up is that with our kiddos, this is the thing for me, is that I have kiddos it is so easy for me to build rapport because all I got to do is show some care and love for kids as they are, and immediately I'm a rock star when I'm talking to youth in this space. In the early 2000s, I had to work as an educator to get to show myself something to prove. Now I got to know a little bit, and I got to be willing to say, I'm gonna take you as you are, regardless of what somebody else says, and just be 100% present and real in there. And that's all that's needed. And that's problematic for me because I have to now be hyper vigilant because other folks can use that to steer kids into, I can make you insecure. You buy my stuff. I can make you insecure. I can have you meet me underage. I can make you insecure. I can drive you into trafficking. I can make you insecure. I can drive you into drug use. The mechanisms that can get pulled have created a very different environment that is making me as a father, as a faith leader, as a minister, all these things. Now I have to watch a flock for that, and it's just to be 100% honest. It is scaring the living daylights out of me.
The audience saw in real time as I had my Jinkies moment. You were talking at the end there, and I'm like, that's exactly it. That's exactly not to make this about me, but I had this existential crisis myself when I realized, holy cow, I literally have the same skill set as my worst enemy. And what prevents me from becoming the monster that I seek to destroy, especially in those critical spaces that you talk about, Brother Anthony, where you have the ability to cut to the core of who a person is. Stevie Wonder said it best. She doesn't use her love to make him weak. She uses her love to make him strong. And we got some people out here who use their powers for evil. And I'm sitting back and I had to reevaluate myself. I said, self, if I got the same skill set as they do, what definitively makes me a better person than them, even if I'm so concerned about being a better person? And then I realized I'm not concerned about being a better person. I'm concerned about helping people. We got people amongst us who have the most Machiavellian propaganda skill set. They know how to cut to the core of who you are and to quote unquote minister to who you are. And then they twist it and get everything they want out of you.
So this is why, if you're going to go with the philosophers, right? And I go with philosophers in a global sense, but a lot of philosophy starts in Greece and goes through Europe, and we have much more philosophy around that for thousands of years. Let's look at the Dinkra philosophies of West Africa and the Dinkra symbols. But anyway, let me get off that for a second. This goes to one of the things, particularly for young folks who are trying to look at what does a future hold for me. And as folks are able to steer that into places where you don't even recognize yourself anymore, and then you're stuck in that shame loop. I have gone so far down this road that that in order to change minds, I have to acknowledge that what I have done or things that I have thought over time have been erroneous. And if I can develop the internal skill to be able to say, look at myself and go, you know what? I was wrong on that, and I'm going to own that, and I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to change. And if I have the space to do that, then you can build some resilience and things like that where folks are less susceptible for it. The problem is that gets interrupted because I got a whole body of folks who are going to point at me and say, "Look at how you were wrong. I'm a disregard you. I'm a cancel you. I'm gonna blast you on here and make you seem like you're all these things." And then that erodes if I don't have enough of that piece. And so, as a kid, I'm looking at this and I'm starting to get nihilistic. Like, hey, I had hope, but
you could not have segued better to our next clip. If I had actually prepped us this morning. Listen, here it is, a clip of kids. They don't have hope. And I don't say that. I don't really say this so much as if it's a bad thing, because as you listen to them diagnose prospects for the future, it's rooted in their concern over scientific things like climate change. So this is not something that we can dismiss as, oh, these kids are being dramatic. No, this is our kids are paying attention when our adults are not. Let's take a look at this.
World's largest ever study into young people's views of the future has just been published. And boy, did they have something to say.
We're screwed.
Of the 10,000 young people surveyed across 10 different countries, 56% of them think humanity is doomed due to the climate crisis. That number is 74% in India, 67% in Brazil, 51% in the UK, and 46% in the US. 45% of 16 to 25-year-olds said climate-related anxiety and distress is affecting their daily lives and ability to function normally, and about 60% feel their governments are betraying them and future generations through their inaction. An overwhelming 75% said they believe the future is frightening.
Brother Galloway.
Did you listen? So the numbers, right? When they were talking about the percentages, notice that the percentages in the United States and in Great Britain are much lower than those in Brazil and India, who are facing huge effects.
That's right.
And both in terms of the spread of coronavirus, but then the spread of of course the climate piece of that. I just that just
jumps out at you. Right?
It jumps out. So here's a question that I got, right? So we're fighting over cultural statements to not wear masks and protect ourselves from a virus that's proliferating amongst a population where the population that can't get vaccinated at the moment because we're not there yet.
Right.
I mean, imagine being a kid looking at that.
Exactly.
And so, it's in addition to the fact that the climate change piece is real, the science is right there. The kids are in school; they're being taught to look at data in many places, even though there's a campaign to try to disrupt that. So if I'm looking at the outlook, my hopelessness that I'm reading in here is not a hopelessness in humanity.
That's right.
It's a hopelessness in the adults.
and go ahead. No, continue.
I just said it's hopelessness in adults, and that concerns me because I'm going to need these kids to care for me when I start to lose feebleness. I want to be on their side.
That's true. Now, because that was the thing. The thing is that I think folks have to. I think people really need to take into consideration that you have not been fooling kids since they were probably 3. Because I've got a 3-year-old. And he can call BS at the drop of a dime, right? He may not understand how to call BS on climate science and climate denying, but people intuitively have a understanding of good faith actors, and I'm noticing it in my kids as early as 3. The problem is that therein lies the wolves in sheep's clothing, those that come out here and they use all of this power that their money gives them, that technology gives them, that their politics gives them, that their privilege gives them, quite frankly. They use their whiteness at this point. They're using their greed. Everything that is being done at this moment all intersects at all of the different disasters waiting to happen because we have people with the ability to use their platforms to manipulate and to shepherd people into places that at this point is causing them to die. I don't want to sound dramatic here, but I just honestly believe that if we cannot come to terms with the fact that maybe there are no adults in the rooms, James, maybe Brother Anthony, maybe we are the adults in the room and we have to find a way to survive, because the younger generation is clearly looking to us to help survive, but we are also fighting against all of the confusion and the madness that's not generationally specific, is across all generations. How do we survive when we have entrenched power that is doing everything to destroy us?
Man, I chuckled on that first part of that clip, to your point. The kid first thing that got the kid's mouth. Yo, we're screwed.
We're screwed.
Hey, he reminded me of the kid from The Sandlot. Run him back real quick. He's like,
Smalls.
Okay. Well, let's go to that metaphor, because you just hit me in my blurred movie space. Okay, so let's keep going. There's a clip in Sandlot where they're trying to get the I'm gonna go ahead and exegete Sandlot.
Exegete that.
So there's a clip where they're trying to get this ball out this yard.
That's right.
And they've built this whole contraption, and the thing blows up, and everybody jumps out the treehouse, except for one kid who didn't make it. And then they look up and he walks out dusty. And when he walks out dusty, he has transcended to this very grounded and enlightened space. And he goes, I think we might be going around this the wrong way.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite parts of the scene. And it's part throughout the whole movie, because at the end, and I'm just gonna be real here, right with the end, they start to shift, and all of a sudden courage comes in, and they go in and they grab the ball and they run and they take the consequences, they deal with all of it, and they get to the end and they realize that the entire time, if all they did was walk to the doorsteps of the black man.
That's right.
That's
and
it.
Just ask a question
and knock on the door.
So I think
a tangle web we weave.
So the metaphor that I want to do, it Brother James, I heard you chuckle when the kid said we're screwed. What I want to bring forward to us is that kids are in a space where the world has not cemented yet. The possibilities are still there, and that allows me to be able to sit with something and learn and think that I don't have to always all be arrived at some place. We as adults don't seem to be as able to be as fluid as that, to have a space for I don't know what I don't know, and to be able to look at something as it is and read the writing on the wall.
Bingo. It is the malleability of a young person's brain that I think gives them the most advantage, because once our brain ostensibly gets concrete, man, changing your mind about something as an adult, or looking in the mirror, James, and admitting, how much time we got left? Because if we really broke this down, I would tell you, I almost thought I had a stroke one time when I looked in the mirror and I finally realized some of the stuff that I was going through was 100% my fault. I like to have a stroke. I think I might have. That might be what's wrong with me right now, because it causes a physical pain, man. There's like a physical pain associated with the cognitive dissonance of when you look in the mirror and you realize all the logic says it's me, but my emotions don't want. And I think that's the intersection with our adults. Our brains are so cemented and we're so stubborn because of the pain that's necessary for us to do what you said, Brother Galloway, reverse course and do the right thing.
If loving you is wrong, then I don't want to be right. And the problem is, if what I love is all the things that are wrong about me.
You said a word there. You said a word there.
That's a sneak peek into my sermon on Sunday.
Come on now. Let me get those websites so I can make sure I'm there in service, okay?
Hey, listen, Brother Galloway, we only have a few more minutes.
Gosh.
I want you to listen to this clip. It is I believe he's speaking in Italian, Pope Francis, and he's basically, we'll translate it after the fact, but he's basically saying that they have these same contradictions, and I guess nobody in the audience is going to be surprised that some of the cardinals over in at the Vatican are rejecting science. But the way the Pope kind of finesses it, he says, "Oh, look at the ironies of life," because one of the people who were rejecting the science now got COVID. Let's look at the Pope be extremely petty real quick.
Argomentazione che hanno creato questa divisione, no? Anche nel collegio cardinalizio ci sono alcuni negazionisti. E uno di questi, poveretto, è ricoverato col virus, no? Ma ironia della vita.
All right, so the translation, the Pope is saying the vaccine deniers are creating division within the College of Cardinals, and that one of them has been hospitalized. And he said the ironies of life. Just real quick before you go, I know you got to get out of here. What are your thoughts about the Pope, the pettiness of it, but more importantly, like at the heights of religious circles and leadership, we have this same problem. And I know that's not a surprise to people who may not look to these organizations for logic and reason, but I have found many religious institutions that operate on logic and reason, despite the contrary of our reputation. But I just want to get your thoughts on this, Anthony.
So I've learned now to clear my Friday mornings because you keep kicking me into the gut bucket of existential crises whenever I'm on with you, Ben. So I'm good on time. But I think it's important to understand, one, this is a Jesuit. This is a Pope who's part of the Jesuit order, right? And so this is an order of Catholic priests who who have also been, there are astrophysicists who are part of,
That's right.
So there's a whole lot of things, in there. And so it's just that it's not as the divisions here haven't been as public because the Vatican is really good at making sure to keep, things in line. And so we're exposed to a different set of things. And so I absolutely see that there are divisions and folks on multiple sides. It's been part of the history of the Catholic Church. And so I just want to, contextualize and complicate that a little bit because there's a whole lot of, folks on that. But I think we're not devoid of this. We're having this struggle in families. I got a family on one side. I got a cousin who's a traveling COVID nurse, and she's on the family reunion call telling folks, look, I had to wheel a wife into her husband's room at a socially distantly to say goodbye. Like, get vaccinated, y'all. At the same time as I've got folks who are like, no, I don't trust it for all these different reasons that would be legitimate reasons on their own, except for the fact that folks are dying around you. And we're still denying it. So even if the and I still got folks in family who are saying that the vaccine is going to change your DNA, it's going to make you sterile, it's going to do all these things that are just completely just not backed up. And so we're dealing with divisions of family.
Brother Galloway, I just want to reassure you, it's not just your family, it's my family. True. And I think it's a lot of families. But I didn't mean to interrupt you. But go ahead, man. No.
That's all I'm saying is, though, if that happened at the family level, the Pope, of course, is feeling that in his family too. And this is a Pope who's got, who's read and studied Paulo Freire, and this is a Pope who's got some different things going. And that's why so many progressive Catholics were excited about this Pope coming in and making some change. So I just want to contextualize that we were all feeling with this, from the Pope to the president to our day-to-day families.
Yeah, man. James, that was a word. I think we can probably can give the benediction. If all hearts and minds are clear, we can get ready to move on to.
I wanted him who was able to keep before the throne of grace with exceeding joy.
To the only wise. Come on now. Where the Hammond organ at? Wait a minute. Hold on. Hey, man. The Apostle Paul did something in there. We'll do it. We're going to do that on another episode, man. It was something that
because Paul is complicated.
Oh, brother, was he complicated? I also think Paul was out there experimenting with some of nature's elements because he was on some other stuff, man. Y'all can't tell me Paul, the apostle. No, I'm thinking John. I'm mixed up. John got into the holies of holies. He went to the third heavens. He was so anointed by the Lord. Anyway, I'm not going to get you in trouble by having you on the screen while I speak my heresy. Listen, we got so caught up in the moment of the Spirit that I completely I almost missed something. I want to play a clip because we have a few minutes before we go to Like It or Not. One of the good things, man, we were having fun and I completely forgot the agenda this morning, Brother Galloway. So I might take you into the existential crises of philosophical arguments, but we have a good time and then I lose track of the whole program. Today is the 10th anniversary of Occupy Wall Street. I don't know where you all were during the Occupy Wall, but I wanted to be there. I physically could not because we had just had a newborn. And so I had an opportunity to speak with one of our friends of the show, Jonathan Smucker. He's an organizer in the Northeast, and he was at Occupy Wall Street. I want to play a portion of that clip, and then James, after that, we'll go to break and come back with Like It or Not. But I just want to salute all of the people who took that moment and took the technology, because I think one of the big stories of Occupy Wall Street was the usage of technology and to use the algorithm where we've seen everyone else use it for bad. I think we're seeing a contingency come back that are using these same tools for good. And I think it's evidenced by the fact we're on the screen right now, because did we not all find each other in the algorithm? Except you and me, James, we found each other at Bethune-Cookman. But I digress. The point is the technology of the moment and how the people at Occupy Wall Street seized the moment and changed the dialogue in this country forever. So I want to play this clip of this interview with Jonathan Smucker as we reflect on Occupy Wall Street 10 years later. Brother Anthony Galloway. Brother, you are welcome to come on anytime. And I'm looking forward to you spending time with us going forward as the time goes forward.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
I was getting ready to say the years go on, but I didn't want to make it sound like a Schwab song. As you stroll along to get that. That's what I felt. David, run that clip. And when we come back, Like It or Not, with Rebecca Azor and DJ Exclusive doing what he does with the Ministry of Music. We'll be back after this.
Dear Americans, this July 4th, dream of insurrection against corporate rule. Occupy Wall Street. In mid-July, Counterculture magazine Adbusters follows its tweet with a call to action. Occupy Wall Street, September 17th. Bring tent. Citizens travel from across the country to meet up with activists in New York. Few cans of pepper spray, an army of citizen journalists, and close to 1,000 arrests are about to change everything.
We saw in the video you being sort of surrounded and just sprayed in the face.
Police test boundaries and pile hundreds into paddy wagons, and the world begins to watch.
Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street.
Wall Street. Wall Street.
Obviously, I've heard of it. I've seen it on television.
7 months of protests, millions of tweets, 7,000 arrests, more than 100 U.S. cities. Occupy Wall Street.
Tell us about Occupy Wall Street and where you were throughout that entire event.
I'll tell you the truth. Leading up to Occupy, I saw the Adbusters call, and I enjoyed Adbusters magazine, the countercultural magazine, and everything. But I didn't think that they knew anything about organizing, to be honest. And I was skeptical. Like I think a lot of organizers were skeptical before it happened. Like a lot of times there's often, as you know, calls to action that never amount to anything. And it didn't take off right away. It took a couple of weeks. A couple hundred occupying Zuccotti Park turned in on the first day, September 17th. It turned into about 300 people, turned into about 3,000 people. And it took persistence and some missteps from the NYPD that, with police brutality, that finally it broke into, after a couple of weeks, it broke into the mainstream news cycle. Suddenly we had a microphone and we're able to voice these things. The failures of neoliberalism and the suffering and the strain caused by those policies. Financial crisis happens 2008, 2009, and it's a total disaster. Nobody's held accountable. 3 years later, this group of mostly young people sets up this defiant occupation. It's basically like erecting a giant middle finger on the doorstep of Wall Street.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, y'all. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Like it or not, it's starting up next. Did I do it again? I did. Man, this me and this song always. Anywho, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We got more coming up. Well, like it or not, in the Benjamin Dixon Show, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Just give it up. I'm not your girl, and I never will be. Don't call me up. Don't waste your time, 'cause I'll be your enemy. If you want love, look somewhere else. He'll find nothing. Just give it up. I'm not your girl, 'cause I only love me. Don't get me wrong. You and I could have fun together when I feel done with having fun on my own. It's better to care for yourself, not rely on somebody else. So
Sherry Hall, good morning. Happy Friday to you too. Demon Yama Mama, good morning.
just walk away.
Environmental Coffee House, Goku, good morning, y'all.
Tonight, don't look my way. If you want a problem, I'll give you a problem, alright. If you want love, just give it up. You got the wrong girl. You got the wrong, you got the wrong, you got the wrong girl. You got the wrong, you got the
Franco, good morning. Shout out Luke Kang and Lily, good morning. Brother Kev Z, good morning, y'all.
I'm feeling good.
Kareem, good morning to you.
See how I shine when I'm alone. Nothing can stop me. You should go out, meet someone else, someone who gets
Rachel, good morning. Tyler Hackler, good morning, brother.
wild. I don't do monogamy. Don't get me wrong.
Christopher Shaw, good morning.
I could have fun together when
All right, y'all, real quick, we're going to go ahead and get our patrons, new patrons and new Twitch subscribers read off.
for yourself.
Let me mute the vocals.
So don't get me
All right, y'all, let's see here. Let's see. New patrons, we have Gabriel M. and Doug Z. Gabriel M. and Doug Z, shout out to y'all and welcome to the fold. New Twitch subscribers, we have the Kevin FM. Andy from Ohio who resubscribed, and they've been subscribed for 11 months. Good morning, Andy. Love you, Andy. Gambling Blues who resubscribed. We have Samuel and the Con Dragon who gifted a 3-month subscription to Afro Puff. And thanks for helping folks, Simon. We greatly appreciate you. Green Man 137 resubscribed. We have Chicken Fried Dragon who gifted subscriptions to Antisocial Communist and Ex-Marvelous Mayo Marmar. Buddy. Zivis X who gifted a subscription to Flaco Wessos. Flaco Wessos gifted 1 community subscription, and Samuel and the Con Dragon gifted a subscription to Very Polite Vampire Man. Hey, shout out to everybody that's streaming this morning, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you're streaming from. Good morning to you and thank you. And if not already, you too can become a member of the Patreon, patreon.com/likeItOrNot, patreon.com/likeItOrNot, or patreon.com/the BPD show, y'all. Y'all go ahead and make sure you join. Next Patreon party will be next week. So you definitely want to become a Patreon member before then. Make it happen, y'all. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all stay tuned. We got more coming up next. Rebecca will join us for Like It or Not. So make sure that y'all stay tuned. And shout out to Tiger for the super chat. Tiger says, wish me luck. I'm headed to DC for more Uber Eats. Y'all know them coaches are having another rally tomorrow. Bills don't take a vacation though. Woo. Tiger man, be careful out there, bro. And if you run into anything, record and be careful, please. Please be careful, Tiger. Sarah AP, good morning. Luke Kang, I said Luke Kang already, but shout out to my brother Luke Kang. Nat A is who I meant to call. Shout out Nat A, good morning, sister. Jonathan Jones, good morning. On and on it goes. Shade Dragon, good morning. The Truth Dragon, good morning, y'all. Courtney the SLP, good morning. Jeremiah, good morning. Shout out to Shay as well. Taj Newby, good morning to you. Elizabeth Lanza, good morning. And I appreciate you. Thank you. No humanist, good morning. Sassy Jazzy, good morning. Photogenic, I think I said that right. Good morning. Man, okay, Lateef, I think I've seen that movie. If not, I'm gonna go check it out. It's Blood Brothers, right? Edward Green, good morning. Dragon Dane, good morning to you, Dragon Dane. Brother Chuck Diesel, do not break nothing over there, sir. Do not break anything over there, because once again, like it or not, or the Benjamin Dixon Show is not responsible for any broken furniture that you may incur in your house from these hot-ass gems that I'm playing this morning. Good morning, y'all. Yes, Brother Lateef, I saw that on there, so I definitely got to check it out. Shout out No Humanist, thank you for your super chat. We appreciate you. I got one more classic before we come back to Ben, y'all. I got one more just for y'all, okay?
Yo, love you, mama. Hard worker, curse you, but won't hurt.
Shout out to the mamas in the building. Mamas. We love y'all. We mean it. Mama, this for you. I ain't played this one in a minute. I'm like, let me go ahead and play this throwback jam real quick.
That's who raised me. Mama had a boyfriend, but that was still my lady. And I could care less about the gifts they gave me. Put your hands on my mama, homie, I go crazy. Now that I'm older, I'm getting a little closer. Love only gets stronger, we talking a little longer. Was more than just a donor, my sister, brother, and father. Strongest woman in my corner, I'm talking about my mama, yeah. If it wasn't for her, then it would not be me. I got nothing but love for all my mommies representing. If it wasn't for her, then it would not be me. I got nothing but love for all my mommies representing. Always gonna care for me no matter what.
Non-fiction, thank you for your super chat. Non-fiction says, just want to support. Good job, guys. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate you.
If she say no, then she mean no. She don't need a reason. I always had the latest kicks during
shout out, brother Goku. Kamehameha, brother Kamehameha.
Same woman front row yelling rap, baby.
Get a nine. Thank you for your super chat. Get a nine stairs for the Chuck Diesel Furniture Defense Fund. All right. I feel it.
Hit the number, she would give me every dollar.
Absolute. Good morning. Absolute. I know Evergreen, y'all shaking their so I know. I feel y'all.
I got nothing but love for all my mommies representing. If it wasn't for her, then it would not be me. I got nothing but love for all my mommies representing. No matter what, for her baby, she gon' hold it down. Remember all the times when I was out here running wild, doing everything and anything to
I forgot how good this damn song
when
was.
my mama say I make her proud. No matter what, for her baby, she gon' hold it down. Remember all the times when I was out here running wild, doing everything and anything to make her smile. I just love it when my mama say I make her proud. If it wasn't for her,
Nicole, how good morning.
I got nothing but love for all my mommies representing. If it wasn't for her, then it would not be me. I got nothing but
all right, y'all. Y'all, welcome back to the stream. My brother from another mother. I hope you're ready. I just said this come back.
Oh man, I'm back here bopping with you, brother. I'm just
if
it wasn't for, I'm like, okay. All right, shout out the new mama anthem. If it wasn't for our mamas, then we wouldn't be us. I didn't even know. I remember I heard that song all the time, but I didn't know who the her was in there until just today. The her was, yeah.
That's funny.
I didn't know. I was like, okay, shout out to whoever that is, whatever woman in his life he wants to give credit to, solidarity. Right. But oh Lord, did I? No. Let's tread. Yeah, let's go to something real quick. I want people to just get an idea of what the after party is like, because if y'all are not a patron by now, what does hinderest thou is what my roommate used. If y'all want to know why I'm so off, I had roommates who talked like that. What does hinderest thou?
Yeah.
Patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/the BPD show. If you are a patron of Georgia Fort, if you're a patron of anyone in our ecosystem, you get access to our patron parties and you get access to some ridiculousness. Now, I'm doing this on purpose because I could just, it's Friday. Why not? And shout out to my cousin whose birthday was yesterday. Very significant day in our family. And I just want to play this clip so that you can praise him like it's your birthday. Here we go.
Welcome to the church revival, where you'll be delivered and set free.
Hey!
Praise him like it's your B-day. 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 Siobhan. Praise him like it's your B-day. 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 Woo!
I don't know, and if you don't know where that song is from, it's where the song is from, which makes it so funny.
My God, today.
That is Jocelyn Hernandez from Love and Hip Hop. That's her song. She had a show called Jocelyn's Cabaret, and the song is like, "Do it like a Shelby Day."
Oh,
He's like a Shelby Day, baby.
Oh,
and
Lord.
it's the whole dance is blowing up on TikTok. So when I saw this yesterday, I was like, "Oh hell yes!" I got to share this with the world.
Now, who is the sister with the microphone? Because I've been seeing her on my timeline since time immemorial. It's like she was there before social media. Anna Douglas.
Yeah, because she's the one that did the Blues Clues.
Let me tell you something.
Look.
They almost exposed me for who I was when that shop music cut up on Blues Clues on this here internet. Y'all were about to see who I really was. I really would have liked to have Anthony Galloway on for the Blues Clues clip so we could see, because when shouting music cut in, I don't care who you are. Okay, true story. We're gonna run that clip again, and then we're gonna go to another break and give Rebecca as much time as she needs. But I digress. I was in the club, James. I don't know. Maybe you were with me in Daytona. Remember was it Razzles or whatever that was? The little white. I was in the club. And we were there, and it was boom, 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 and I'm boom with them. And then all of a sudden, man, I heard what you say now. And I said, hold on. I recognize that voice. Clap your hands. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I recognize that. In the middle of this white bourgeois elitist club in Daytona Beach with all these white people around me, God has sent Kirk Franklin into the club, and they start playing Kirk Franklin. I said, you know what? Let me get out of here and go back to my dorm room, because I'm not supposed to be here. God came out there. So I want us to play that clip one more time. And y'all listen to this sister as she done brought the club to the church. It's your birthday. Happy birthday, cuz. And then, James, it's in your hands. That's just that's the after party.
To the church revival, where you be delivered and set free. Praise him like it's your beat day. 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 Praise him like it's your beat day.
It's the help for me.
Hey, man, get me off the screen before we... We'll be back with more international politics and highbrow philosophical conversations when we return after this.
Oh my gosh, y'all is funny as hell, man. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Like it or not, more Like It or Not is coming up. B, good morning. Now, B, Razzles was a straight club. It's been so long since we've been in that club, man. But yeah, it was a straight club. We used to frequent there all the time, right on the beach.
Take too long, yeah. Do want it right now. Want it right now. Don't take too long. Get it. Girl, you know I'm impatient. Don't keep it away. Girl, it's been too long. You know what I've been craving. Girl, I'm trying to taste it. You know what I like. Don't to get freaky in the night. When she hit the room, you know it's on sight. And she all on my type.
Stop! I'm only acting like I'm in the party, y'all. Man.
But she look good. You ain't gotta stand in the mirror with your makeup on, cause you know that take way too long. I just want that right now. Girl, you Uber outside. I can't wait just to get this on. You want it right now.
Esther, good morning, Esther.
Take too long. You want it right now. Want it right now. Don't take too long. Take too long.
Hey.
Waiting on you to pull up. Girl, I know you got a member.
B, I don't think so. In Daytona, right, B?
Be around when I'm taking you down. Damn, that drink too strong. We could roll up. My baby, just hold up. Say you got a friend, bring it in. We can do what you wanna. I know you need it. Not to sound conceited, but girl, I complete you. I don't wanna wipe you up, no. You ain't gotta stand in the mirror with your makeup.
Lily, unfortunately, I do not know. This is one of the throwback jams from when we first started, and where I didn't even have the song names for people. That's that bad, huh? But real quick, how do you drown a hipster? How do you drown a hipster? Throw them in the mainstream. I didn't like that one. That was stupid. I didn't like that one. That was stupid as hell. Jeremiah, what do you call an alligator in a vest? What do we call him, Jeremiah?
Why you tryna play me? Telling me I'm crazy. Tryna prove me wrong in every fight. Knowing that I'm right. Why you tryna wreck me? Always wanna check me. Wanna call me out in front of friends. Careful where you tread before
An investigator.
you love me and I love you.
I can't stand you, Jeremiah.
Butting heads is what we do. Bullheaded, stubborn, wild, crazy lovers.
Okay. What does a nosy pepper do? What does a nosy pepper do? Gets jalapeno business.
Fire. Oh, baby, we're fire.
Good morning, y'all, and happy Friday. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned.
Fire. Say you love me and I love you.
Shout out, brother Chuck Diesel.
Is what we do. Bullheaded, stubborn, wild, crazy lovers. You love me and I love you. Why can't we just match the two? Why we get so mean? Light the match I'm kerosene.
How does Moses make tea? How does Moses make tea? Hebrews.
Why you tryna play me? Telling me I'm crazy. Sitting on the other side of me.
Promises Manifested said, what happened to the man who stole a calendar?
Why won't you just trust me?
Promises Manifested, what happened?
You know what? I figure I'm going to just have to bring myself up.
Yeah, you are.
To bring this to an end.
No, it gets worse. Wait.
James,
Why can't you explain puns to kleptomaniacs?
Wait. Ask the question again.
Why can't you explain puns to kleptomaniacs?
I'm afraid to answer. I don't know why, James.
They always take things literally.
I hate you.
Right, Church Road Pew. Thank you for your super chat.
I hate you, James. See, here's the reality, man. No matter how, James knows something about me, because we go way back, and James knows no matter how high up there and highfalutin and philosophical and all I get, James just be like, boy, remember, hey, man. Remember we ran from those racists and hid in the graveyard? And then I'm like, he bring me right back down. Oh yeah, no, we go all the way back to the crib, all the way back.
All the way.
And therefore he also knows no matter how serious I try to pretend like I am, he knows I cannot resist a good dad. It doesn't matter. And I hate it. I hate it because well, maybe it's just what the doctor ordered at this point, man, because there's so many crazy stories that we've been covering. And here we go, shifting this show has range. That's what it is,
right.
Mm-hmm.
We a lot of range.
We go all the way from international relations and foreign policy all the way down to the trap, quite literally. So I digress. Listen, I want to bring up an image, and I want you we all were, I think most everyone participated in the campaign for LeVar Burton to get him to be the host of Jeopardy, because it only made sense. But he's moved on and he's doing some other great things. But these are the two hosts that they settled with, Mayim Bialik and Ken Jennings. Bialik, okay. Yeah. I know her as Blossom.
Blossom, right.
And the other guy is Ken Jennings. They're going to host the remaining of these the episodes for the rest of this year. The search for a final host is still ongoing. James, I just, why can't folks see a good thing when it's right in front of them? Because I don't even think LeVar Burton, I don't even think he should even come back and accept it, even if they rolled out the red carpet for him. But depends on how big that check is. He might he might do it anyway. So he should. But they missed the good thing that was right in front of them at the time, because the power of social media, the power of the algorithm, the power, all the good things about this interconnectivity that we had, said, yeah, we all will start watching Jeopardy. And I think the perfect replacement was LeVar Burton, but no, here we are.
I mean, it's so many different things to this, like, because unfortunately I didn't even get to see when LeVar hosted, but only reason this may be a good fit. Okay, Ken is like the top winningest Jeopardy person of all time, so he has the knowledge, he knows the show. Alex Trebek loved him dearly. That's the only thing I see. Mom Bialik, besides her being an actress, she's a I forgot what she is. Neuroscientist, she's something, but just the acting part just came later on. So, but Mayim Bialik, I don't see it too much. But if anything, definitely Ken Jennings or LeVar Burton should have been the two that they go with. But I think the reason why they put LeVar up there to begin with is because that showed the power of social media. You get out enough, you blow up enough tweets and everything, boom, it's going to happen. And they did it, and now it's like, okay, we made y'all happy, now leave us the hell alone. We're going to choose these two. Wait, we still in the main show, so I can't say what I want to say. We're going to choose these two people right here.
Oh, man. James, actually, no, man, you just hit at it. You just hit at the core of it. They were like, okay, we did it. We were never going to consider him in the first place.
Yeah. It was just to appease the masses. And then somebody else in the chat said they heard that he was boring when he hosted the show. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to see it.
We could have worked that out, man. Come on, like I give me a week with him, and he would have been putting on a whole spectacle, right? It doesn't. It's in him. Come on, like all he has to do is pull back just a little bit of Lieutenant Commander Geordie LaForge and put a little bit of that and a little bit of Reading Rainbow. And, Butterfly in the sky, I can fly twice as high.
Reading Rainbow. Reading Rainbow.
All he had to do was just a little pizzazz, just a little spirit fingers.
But dude, Ben, the other part of that is, you know, they say LeVar Burton may have been boring, but it's freaking Jeopardy, y'all. Jeopardy is boring.
It's Jeopardy. You're not going to tell me that what you're not going to do is tell me that Blossom is about to be so much more dynamic and funny than what's your name, man?
Right. Okay, exactly. Woo! And even dang on Ken Jennings, he's no better either. Both of them might bored as hell.
They try to tell us that Geordie wasn't entertaining enough. Now, if I were going to be a bad faith actor, I would flip it on his head and say, y'all must want the black man to dance for y'all.
Like Steve Harvey do.
Come on, man.
Did I say that out loud?
James, you never know who we might be trying to work out something with. Y'all be
Have you noticed oh my gosh, I hate to take it here, y'all, but I got to. Have y'all ever noticed on Family Feud the difference, how it is? Let's say we have a black family and a white family on. It's hilarious. When you have a black family and let's say a Latino family, hilarious. When you have two white families on, it'd be the most boringest damn show ever. Unless they answer some funny questions.
Now, the question, no, y'all about to take me on too many of the tangents. Like, it is Friday, and we're trying to filibuster and give Rebecca time before we go through all the stories without her. But man, look here. Family, man, I like Steve Harvey, man. Me
too.
He might be my cousin. I'm from the Harvey tribe. So he might be a cousin somewhere up down our lineage. And but boy, what you said was funny as hell, James. I can't stand you.
Because dude, I watch it every now and again. And I was watching one episode and it was two white families on there. And it was just scenes like they were just so. And Steve Harvey was trying to make it work. You could tell he was trying to make it work, but it was just like, yo, this not working. Then the next episode, black family, and I think a white family. Funny as hell, dude. Total difference. Total difference.
Oh man. Okay. Well, just in case we might be filibustering too long, I want to hit one more, a couple more stories here. I guess maybe. I'm not even going to front because I am still grievously vexed over Jordy LaForge, LeVar Burton. And I'm not trying. When I say Jordy, I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all. You got to understand that I grew up with LeVar Burton in two totally different ways. One was Reading Rainbow, and the other one was like the Next Generation. And so the thing is that he captured the moment on social media and the imagination of all the people who grew up with him, stimulating our imaginations. And I think the algorithm, the good side of social media, try to say, hey, here's a good match if you guys would pay attention to it. But they said, no, well, we'll entertain you. We'll give them a shot. But at the end of the day, we're going to go in our own direction anyway. And what they're not going to be able to tell me, James, is that Blossom and Ken are more entertaining. They're just not even on his worst day. Not even now. I was about to go into a meta episode of Star Trek when he created a hologram of a woman and it was super awkward. Not even when he's at that low point would the character or the orbit of anything associated with LeVar Burton be less of a good fit than whether they're going right now. So we pray their strength because my sisters really love Jeopardy. I don't watch it that much, but my family, they watch it every day religiously.
Really?
Almost like Matlock. Like,
oh God! All right, in the heat of Matlock,
in the heat of the night.
And you want to go further now? The new one is Law and Order.
Law and Order. Oh my God!
So many freaking iterations of Law and Order, bro.
Why we all of our parents and now us, because Law and Order is us. Like, we're not sitting up watching Matlock every day, but you catch my wife on a day off, she's gonna be somewhere. No, her mother really is into. Let me get onto a story because I just brought up my mother-in-law on the show, and I love watching Law and Order: Criminal Intent every time we're there. I love it. It is the best. No, I absolutely do. I promise to God I do, because it honestly reminds me of my mother. James, It reminds me of your mother. It's like every Black mother I know, they got in the heat of the night on their television. That's all. So I felt at home. All right. Let's shift gears. I wanted to relax like we are in the after party, but we are still on the clock and we still have some stories. Oh boy, what you got, James?
David, please go help Rebecca. She says she's lost. Drop the good link in the Slack for her, please.
We're going to allow for this in today's episode. And here's the reason why. See, at the top of the show, when we were talking with brother Galloway, I was talking about how I recognize very sincerely that I have the same skill set as some of these people out here who are doing the harm to our communities. Right. Because I can justify anything.
Right.
It doesn't matter, James, what it is. I can find a way to justify it. And sometimes I'm right and I'm in line with the universe. And sometimes I just be gaslighting people. And so instead of doing that, I see we have officially filibustered long enough to bring in Rebecca Azor.
Oh, get out of here. He wanted to say hi.
Oh, hey, Plant. Hey, Planty.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
He just wrote a goddamn intro over us, girl.
It was David that did that. I don't like that.
I know.
I don't like that too much.
We were having a whole ass conversation.
Give a white man a little bit of power.
Yeah.
Child. Ooh, David.
Well, here we are, Brother James, if you would.
Good morning, I guess.
Right.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
And not care who doesn't like it.
Including goddamn David. Let me stop.
David, next time, no cutting people off. Love you, mean it, but that was funny.
Dang.
But this one is Lynette. And I just have one behind me in the corner here. I just bought her. Her name is Lucy. And
Then I have Lola over here, but I'm not gonna pull her because she's not looking a little shiny. I don't want.
Wait, you got some alliteration going on there. Lola, Lynette, and Lucy. Okay.
So Lola is the
it.
oldest. Yes, my best friend named them for me. Lola is the oldest, and I had her from the first week I moved in here. She was my anxiety plant. I had bought her. She's a money tree. I haven't seen no money for real, but she has been giving me. She's great. She grows with the braid, which is really nice. The roots are braided, and then this lucky bamboo that I purchased as well.
You got a lot going on over there.
Yeah, I got the money tree from Aldi's for $7, and she has lasted me a year. I remember her deadbeat daddy at the time said that plant ain't gonna last. That plant ain't gonna last, and I was like, yes, it will, and it lasted longer than the relationship.
Damn! Wait a minute, that was worth. Whoa, what you're not going to do is drop something like that and we not pause and reflect. Damn, Rebecca.
Yeah.
I love you, sister. I love you to death.
Yeah.
Man, it has been so long since we have had an opportunity to laugh like this, y'all. It has been
Y'all ain't laughed yesterday. We laugh like this every day.
Do we?
Yes.
Yes, man.
We act like it's been 6 years.
Well, maybe it's me because I've had a stick up my butt over the last couple of months because we've been trying to. James, shut up, man. Just James.
The one time he ain't looking at he don't look at the screen. He don't look at the.
I normally am not looking at the screen, and that's how I stay out of the silliness. Because when I'm looking at y'all fools, I'm cracking up all the time. But here it is. We've been working really hard, really diligently here. With the entire operation, the Benjamin Dixon Show, Like It or Not, On the Clock, Georgia Fort, Rebecca Zora, DJ Exclusive, David, Dwayne, all the people in the background. We've been working so hard. And so I don't know if we've been laughing like that every day because I honestly can't even recall what
I have. Every time I come on here, I laugh like that.
Every time, child, a cackle. Every time. Just go back and read some of the times we talking about Bubba laugh. It's so hysterical. It's so funny. It's just live. And then Rebecca, the same thing. My queen, Rebecca, I love her so much. And then they say big head man.
But some days be good, some days be bad. Like I don't like it. Like I said, that's all right. That's
right. That's okay.
We gonna laugh at the end. I love you so much. We gonna laugh at the end.
Yeah, even if you said like even when we get into the thick of it, we know how to find our way out and get back to some
exactly.
Jokes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a propagandist.
Okay.
So, I want to share my propaganda.
How long have you had this problem?
I think a long time.
I have been a propagandist for a long time. I have decided to use my power for good. I've always decided to use my powers for good. I had to come to terms with the fact that, I high key have the same skill set as some of our enemies. But I just want to play something for you guys. It's about 60 seconds and it's how I want us to start every morning, because if we have the airwaves, then I want to transmit on all frequencies, the kind of messaging. David, you see what I want to go to real quick. The amber waves of grain. Play that for me, because I just want to share something that I want to start our show with every morning. Here we go. Drop the lower third for me. Keep it going real quick.
A little different than all the rest.
That's it. That's all.
Fashion where I had sometimes.
You been? Because I almost thought that was an STD commercial. Just like 2 seconds. I saw that there were only
love
black
the irreverent nature of this show. I just poured my heart out.
You ready for a really aggressive tone change that you're gonna like?
No, not yet, David. We'll get there. Rebecca, finish what you was.
You know how they be doing them commercials just like
the Cialis commercial, right?
Or
Like,
like
for your moment, if you're ready for your moment, yeah.
You know, like there's one commercial that says "Welcome to my vagina," and I'm like,
wait, no.
The commercial says that because it's about birth control. But I'm like, it starts off looking like, you know, she's in like a hotel, she's gonna meet someone, and I'm like, what the hell? It's just the music, but then it's like at the end they be like, you're gonna die, possibly.
Wow. Wait, I'm sorry. It seems as though, Rebecca, you have been traumatized by the emotional appeal that media uses to sell stuff to us, such that you looked at the piece of thing that I put together from the bottom of.
I loved it so much, man.
It was awesome.
And you,
but I thought the same.
Black men and black families.
Oh man,
and women with natural hair, children of all shades.
But no, let's unpack that though. Why would images of happy families be associated with STDs?
Because they want you to try the drug. If you've ever looked at images, if you look at any of these commercials,
oh man,
you're sitting there like, hey, dying soon probably. But when I take this drug, it adds on about 5.
I dig it. I can see that.
You gotta want to try to take the drug, and that's how they can get people to at least try it. Or whatever. If you're showing somebody who is,
I have a different version.
Is it
because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I thought it was one of those Cancer Centers for America videos.
Oh my God, y'all!
If you look at those commercials, no offense too, but if you look at those commercials,
no, this is perfect. Actually,
beautiful songs.
This is perfect. Monday, I'm going to bring the version of it that has some trap underneath it, because you're right. The truth is that clip was supposed to be played at the 6:30 hour, and I'm not the 6. Damn,
at the 8 a.m.
What the hell?
That was my that is the message being transmitted to an older generation. It is intentionally, right? Yep. It's not and I think that is perfect, Rebecca, because the transition from this show, if you want to actually understand what we're doing here and what we've cultivated, is we have cultivated multiple audiences of blackness. Yeah. And that one conjures up in the minds of the like it or not audience, or at least the like it or not host, as an STD test. That's the wildest. I would never have seen that coming. Because I'm old.
And it was not only STDs, it's anything that you may be, any major issues that you got going on and they want you to try the drug. You've seen the commercials, right? And particularly for the STD commercials, they really try to fluff it up. They try to, and I just watched one last night, and I'm just looking like, at first I didn't like the fact that, like I said, it was full of black people, and the particular STD was full of black men. Men, and then like one guy that was not black. Wow. And I think he was like other. So I was like, I don't really like that commercial too much. Like, if we're gonna talk about this particular issue, let's have everyone here on this conversation. I don't know if they were trying to gear it towards black people so that they can try it. I really don't know, but it made me uncomfortable because I stared at the commercial, took it off of mute, and that's when I realized what they were talking about. They were happy. They were walking together. They were washing dogs in the tub. I'm like,
I know exactly what commercial you're talking about too.
Because you know.
Can you look at that?
I know exactly what commercial you're talking about.
Would you look at that? These images of now, see, my thinking was it's the music, it's the tempo, it's the speed, because we flip it and reverse that, because I can send the same exact message in any genre, right? Any tempo. That's not the thing. But what I'm hearing y'all say are these images, these images of happiness conjure up. Can y'all see what is absolutely twisted about that, though.
Ben, we're so messed up. Because if you rewind it just a little bit, David, because I can tell you exactly.
Because I thought it was the music. I thought maybe I need to flip it and put some, Cardi B.
No, it's definitely not the music.
So right here, right, I see Black farmers who lost their land. Right, I see when you're showing the family, and I hate this because I'm.
What do you see here? What do you see here?
A family that's having a great Sunday brunch after not being able to be together. Then this man thinking about how the hell he's going to pay for his children in this home because of he can't really work for COVID.
What's this man worried about?
They screaming, see, I done told you. And these people are trying their best to have fun in their home. This is a family moment because there is fun.
What do you see here?
I see him really like, I finally get an opportunity to be with my kids.
I
see him.
Now, what's wrong? What's done with this, bro?
Out of class.
I'm quitting school. I'm dropping out of college.
I hate this job. I am tired of this.
And what's wrong with him?
He's following me. I can't do the car. I gotta ride the scooter. Let me just get a breather. Finally, a vacation, but let me get on the phone and still work. Finally,
relax.
Now he's worried about how he gonna pay for the bills for this family he tried to build. That's what he worried about, right?
Now you literally can do a whole commercial.
What's wrong with him?
Everything in this world. Just let me get me out of here. And he I'm screaming to the sky. Ben, I am so sorry. Didn't mean to.
No. It's more perfect than y'all will ever.
This is why I say we all need to talk to somebody. We need to talk to somebody because I should not be perceiving anything like that in this world.
I thought it was the music. I was like, okay, we could put some boom.
Yeah, and we can, but I shouldn't even be looking at things like that. And I look at TV and they try to make happiness associate with pain or something like suffering, and then they choose a particular type of person. Sometimes mostly males you'll see in these commercials that have to do with AIDS or whatever. It's like this is what they'll do, and then try to fluff it up and things like that. But when I see Black people in a commercial, I always got to be like, what is this commercial about? Let me see. And then like I'm looking for pain. I'm literally looking for pain because I know in America stuff ain't real. So it's either gonna be some fake thing or it's gonna be something painful.
Or cereal.
Yeah. Or cereal, because in the cereal the kids be mixed.
Yeah. Speak on it. Like for real.
Every time.
That's the first thing I saw. I'm like,
what we need are cereal commercials. So we need cereal commercials.
Mixed kids only.
Mixed kids. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this very directly.
Mixed kids or single fathers.
Y'all almost had me about to bind something and rebuke something.
It was good, and I
no. No.
Because you wanted to bring good joy.
No, it is, and because that's what we're gonna do, right? Yeah. That's what we're gonna do, and that's how we're gonna start our streams at when we started. However early we started, we're gonna be filling in and adding stuff as the years go along. Right now, we have. That's how we're going to start streaming. More importantly than all that, forget that. Y'all, do y'all hear what the hell y'all saying? Good God Almighty!
That's why I'm in therapy today. That's why I'm in therapy today. But that's why I always
watch a lot of TV.
Oh my God!
That's why I always try to bring too. Like I make sure that we don't.
Let me try a different one.
Or something, because we need joy. We do. And I think that and it's sad that is funny, but this is actually true. It's just like there's not much good going on.
Now, okay, I have another one. I have another one, Rebecca, that has it has Black families dancing and people dancing in their car, and I think that is going to easily transmit or translate. Thank you, as joy, but y'all, images of Black families. And then the transition to like workers and all these images that I see. And don't get me wrong, I'm not divorced from the reality that y'all are talking about. I see it, but I wonder how many people see it y'all way far more than I see it my way.
Excuse me.
No, and I love the joy. That you're bringing, that's my thing, to bring joy, bring happier stories, bring happier videos.
What images would conjure up joy? A clear night, like unambiguous joy.
I think somebody said it best. Like, this is what we even move towards. Like it's up to us to change the narrative, right?
Yeah.
And for a lot of the different things, it's up to us to change the narrative. And for me, what brings me joy? And it ain't really it's like seeing Black women in positions that that they never, like, I see them in commercials or positions that they never would have before. I like when they post women, Black women specifically, in like these commercials where they're like the boss of the whole thing. And it's hard that we see shows like that because they're usually only on Black networks. But when I do catch on like Netflix or something, like, oh, a Black woman who's married to a Black man, where the story isn't problematic, like, you know, everything doesn't have to be stressful and problematic. It doesn't have to be the Cosbys all the time either, you know, like that kind of thing. But what zins me out, y'all, believe it or not, is like jazzy type music in the forest and stuff, like that kind of thing. It literally soothes.
Wait a minute.
soul.
Wait, Rebecca. Are we even more kindred spirits? Like when you say in the forest, do you take your music out into the forest and be dancing underneath the trees?
And I sit on a rock, and you'll see me like zinning out. You'll see me sitting like this, like literally.
Oh my!
You'll think I'm like I'm literally right here, but I'm praying to Jesus. I seriously, it's crazy.
That is so me.
And then once I start trekking up, I change the music, and then I'd be like on some real hood stuff to go up the mountain.
Yes.
And then once I make it to the top, I'm playing like neo soul, looking over things and whatever the case.
I think people need to understand that dichotomy, man. Because I high key have spots in almost every city that I've gone to where I will disappear, and there's either a rock, Rebecca, or there's like a mountain, or there's a cliff or something, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking like I'm meditating, and most of the time I'm either talking with the universe or talking with the Lord, right? And then the other dichotomy you just put out there is the fact that like we can go from something sophisticated and jazz and, you know, Harlem Renaissance, and you're gonna find us at the trap before the end of the night. Like it's just kind of a natural transition in our lives.
Yep, literally, you will find me rapping so loud, like people be looking at me. You know, let me tell y'all real quick though. And then we're gonna move on to a story because I didn't have my story time this morning.
I thought you meant a story in the news. You meant one of your
No. This is gonna be a 2-second story, and then we're gonna move on to a story in the news before we get out of here. I literally, when I went down to the mountain and I had that bad day, and I sent you the video, there was a 9/11 tribute or whatever.
Right.
And I told you, hey, Ben, you know, it'd be nice if you take your kids here possibly, but it's giving racist vibes. So listen, every weekend on that mountain, it's a pretty like white area over there, Kennesaw Mountain. And every weekend I go, but I won't tell y'all no times because I don't want nobody pulling up Rebecca, and I get real scared. But every weekend,
why is she like this, James? Why is she like this?
Every weekend I go, right? And I see all the Black people, and we see each other, and we'll say, hey, and they will look at you as you walking by until you say hello. They don't care who they are with, white, Black, or whatever. They gonna look at you in your eye, and they're gonna be like, hey, girl, hey, sister, how you doing? Is the run good for you this morning? How you heading up there? Your legs all right? And I'll be like, dang, well, thank you. So, that particular day, all the white folks were inside of the monument, which were all flags all over the place. And I was saying, dang, I love this monument, but I hate that. And here I go. I hate what it means to me here in America. You know, and I hate what it means to Muslim people here in America. This reminder to them and how they were, some were Americans here, but had to deal with not even being able to mourn what happened because they were being treated a certain kind of way. All those kind of things, you know, but I looked at it and they were all, I heard people singing, I swear for God, and I kid you not, y'all. Old white couple, I'm proud to be an American. And this is my camera, my camera phone. Where at least I know I'm free.
Wait. Why the vibrato? Wait. Do the vibrato again, Rebecca.
I'm proud to be an American. Where at least I know I'm free. And they were singing, the man. It was an older man that was holding up the camera, and he literally was singing that song. It wasn't Black people. it was white folks. So but I thought, dang, why aren't there any Black people in the midst of this? They literally passed by that monument and they act like it wasn't there. People watched, and those Black people were just like, I am here to work out. I'm not going to be amongst that. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of Black people mourned that day. My professors, my teacher from that year, still to this day, talk about that incident and how it hurt them and how it affected them. But they could not even go and really enjoy that particular monument because what the American flag means to them or doesn't mean to them. So it was crazy because it was giving racist vibes. Big time. It really was. So, but
you
yeah.
said a lot. We
Big
didn't even
racist
talk about,
energy.
we didn't even talk about 9/11. Not for real on this show. Not because out of any kind of irreverence, but because everything that came afterwards, I mean, confirms everything that we knew about this country before. You know, so I dig it. Those runners who are like they will exercise out there, but they're not going to engage with that monument. That makes total sense to me. Yeah. That said, we have a couple. Let's continue the after party because you know
let's keep it live. Is that what you said?
Yes, because it's Friday.
I'm with it.
We ain't got no job. I mean,
you ain't got no job.
We ain't got no. You know, come on. Well, I can't.
Look,
Rebecca, I can't say that joke around working people.
And I also wanted to say, just to keep you guys in the loop, since y'all know all my business.
All of it.
Oh boy.
I may possibly be going back into the office, and I just wanted to. I know that and I hate to say that, but that may or may not cause me not to be on the show in the mornings. When you go back into the office, the time does change, and I'm gonna fight it tooth and nail, you guys. Hang
on. Reach out to your screen right now. Everyone, extend your hand to your screens all across the internet.
Touch and agree.
It's already done. Boom.
Already done.
I feel that.
That's all we're gonna do with that. All right, now let's just cut loose. James, take us to a break because we're going to take it to the after party. Now, one way that you all are going to assist us with
filibuster for me. Yeah, filibuster. I got to send this work email so I can make sure I'm not at work today. Filibuster, thanks. I mean, to make sure that
no. Rebecca, tell us a story.
Sure. So
Jay.
I literally am. I'm trying to take a vacation again, but in October. And so my job has actually told me that because I took a few days off at the beginning of the year for my mental health, I did not accrue any vacation time to cover it.
Wait, sick days were taken out of your vacation days?
Yes, they took it from me. So they said, so now we're not gonna give it to you until a certain time. And I felt some kind of way about that very heavily. I'm like, damn, because I really need to take another vacation. Like I need to go on a break. And they were just like, now, since you took days for your mental health, which they weren't, so they're supposed to just, and they didn't even pay me for, y'all. I didn't get paid. Anyways, all of that happened. I need to leave this job. Look, I need to leave this job, period. I need to go because it's not helpful. It's not conducive to me. And the fact that I have a manager reaching out to me on Instagram. Why you follow me on Instagram? I have a manager reaching out to me on Instagram telling me they've chosen a date, but he didn't give me the date yet. All he said was try to fight it by saying it's a religious reason. And I'm like, no, it's literally my life. It's life or death. I'm not going into the office of people I do not know if they're vaccinated or not. There are so many lies that you guys have tried to find out who was vaccinated. Sent out an email and said, have you gotten the vaccine? Share your story just so that they can document it. That to me is ridiculous. And that to me is something I just feel like I'm not putting my life in danger. I already know what my corporation is capable to do in this particular office.
Rebecca, I wanted so much to laugh our way through the rest of this show, but my God, today you're hitting on the exact issue that's surrounding so many of the problems we're facing, right? They expect you to go back and put your life on the line. And what are we at now? The Mu variant? We're so far gone in this pandemic that really people are throwing up their hands and saying, oh, well, it's going to be completely out of control forever and it's going to be here forever. And under those circumstances, your people's jobs are trying to send them back into buildings that y'all don't have to be in there. Y'all could do your work from anywhere.
Period. But they're trying to bring us back in the building. And I question that. You guys know I already drew up an email for whatever's to come. because they haven't sent me an email particularly. They've been sending general emails, and then when my former manager had sent me in DM saying, hey, this is going to be what it's going to be. Literally in a few weeks or a few days, you will be receiving an email with a date. And that is, to me, is ridiculous. We don't need, and I've talked about this on the show already. We do not need, see, y'all cannot be.
People just be popping up.
And you already know. All right,
wait a minute. It's
show.
10 o'clock. Wait.
I should know who is coming in and out beforehand. I already told y'all this.
Pascal said he saw all this joy on the screen and said he had to come get some of it. He had to inject his 6'4" energy into it.
Good morning. I just came on to say hi, and I wanted to reach out through the
in touch and agree.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Yep.
Make this world a better place.
There you go. If you can.
There it is.
Just look over your shoulder, honey.
No, wrong song, right generation.
This is true.
Oh man, Pascal, you're about to go live in a minute now. What you covering today?
We're doing a Speaking on It Friday. Just a little fun, hanging out, just do some calls, keeping it very simple this Friday. It's been a long week. I don't know about y'all, but it's been a long.
It's been the longest Monday ever. Right? Even today is feeling Monday-ish, but we're gonna.
Now listen. I will say this on air. I bind that in the name of Jesus. This is not going to feel like a Monday.
After this,
when it's
probably gonna go.
The only Friday I got this week.
I'm probably gonna get me a drink, and maybe that will work it out for me. And then I'm gonna put on some compa or some hood music, and then before I start my shift, because I only got about 15 minutes in between once I get off here. Man. To get on
solidarity with workers, man.
That
damn it, man,
better be Barbancourt. That's all.
Yeah, it will be. It will be, and not even a lot of it. It's just gonna be like a little shot because
just a capital.
Yeah, because that's all you need. That's really all you need.
Trust me, that's all you need.
It really is.
Where did James go? I just looked up and he was gone. Poof, just
left. I think he sent you an email saying he can't come onto the show anymore just now.
Pascal has literally kicked him off. It really looks like you told him get out of here, and then you scooted over.
He's like, I'm out.
And then he brought him back
until you're gone.
Wait, what happened?
You done came back.
Pascal is demonstrating his powers. David, do we have that flyer? Do we have that flyer handy for the Pascal show that starts at 10
that is Eastern? Not that man. Look, every time.
Hey, Tyler.
Yeah.
The Pascal show live weekday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 a.m. Pacific Time with Tyler Perry.
Oh, the specific was coming out. It was going to be strong.
It about to be specific.
I used to have braces because my teeth was doing some things that caused me to talk like that. Y'all know I used to suck my thumb, so y'all know there's a lot of T's, S's, issues, THs. It's a lot of issues with that. Okay.
Can't stand you.
Oh my gosh. Well,
y'all, please play a clip for David.
David is assistant, but I just want to be mindful of your time. I didn't know if you jumped in to just
only if Pascal's got time. Okay,
so I got a few minutes.
David making moves today.
He making moves.
He don't put himself in the center of the pyramid.
Feelings, but it happens. I guess.
All right,
white man does wrong.
Hey, come on, play that funky clip, white man.
So this clip on the left that you're about to see was posted to Twitter by an employee that said he got called the N-word, and he showed the guy what happens when he gets called the N-word. The video on the right that you're going to see at the same time was a reply to the video, but just goes so seamlessly.
Did y'all see all of our eyes light up like the N-word? All right, David, this better be a good clip, David.
To understand what on-site means. On-site is action. That means upon arrival, once your presence has been acknowledged, that hands will be laid and debts will be paid. If this statement has ever been issued to you, that means that person is past the point of reconciliation. That when they see you, there will be no more talking, but only walking of the dog, and we're not talking about no pets. That means the day of reckoning is upon you, and no man knows the day nor the hour. And it matters not where you are when they see you. You could be coming from taking Because you just might get that day
Hey,
to get them hands put in your life.
What you say?
That was enough to shout right there. She said,
Come on,
be
somebody.
mindful of what you say because it just may be that day.
Hello.
If we had some shout music, we'd play it right now. But
David, don't
David?
you dare pull up that man with the wig because that ain't the shout we talking about.
I can't stand Rebecca. Pascal.
Try Jesus, don't try me. I mean, that's
Hey.
basically it.
Pascal.
Yeah. No.
You
A
walked
man
right
tells
into
his
it.
doctor,
That clip.
Doc,
Let's throw it
help
over
me.
to
I'm
Rebecca
addicted to
real quick.
Twitter.
Wait.
Okay, help me, I'm addicted to
You got to
Twitter.
set it up. Yeah, set it up again.
A man tells his doctor, Doc, help. I'm addicted to Twitter. The doctor replies, sorry, I don't follow you.
We just came from a spiritual moment. You done brought us back into the world.
Yep.
They do say that the devil was minister of music in heaven. Goddamn,
Pascal ought to know. Every time he come on, he better have a joke in the clip loaded, ready for me.
You know what?
I'm gonna come with
Like,
it.
I'm gonna work. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna work on that now.
Is today your birthday, Pascal? Or is it anywhere near right now?
No.
Why
Is
would
there
you say
anybody-
today though? Because he's
No,
dressed
just-
up a little extra.
No, because I just want an excuse to play this clip again. Before you go, Pascal, I want to leave
Oh,
you.
Rebecca.
Somebody
Rebecca
in your
ain't
audience.
see it.
Somebody in your audience, Pascal. It's their
What
birthday.
clip?
Oh,
David knows
Wait,
what
run
clip
that clip,
I'm talking
David.
about. Happy birthday.
To the church revival where you'll be delivered and set free. Praise him like it's your big day. Praise him like it's your big day. Praise him like it's your big day. Praise him like it's your big day.
Get Rebecca.
Praise him like it's your big day. Praise him like it's your big day. Praise him like it's your big day. Praise him like it's your big day.
Oh,
Give him the glory. Listen, the guy in the video, the choir person, is the guy that I don't know if I played him on the show before, a long time ago when the women got I think Trent Atlanta
Pascal,
Blue.
your show's supposed to start
Hey.
7 minutes ago. Should we let you go, man?
Yes, please.
Oh,
No,
dang.
playing.
Oh,
No, you gotta jump off. But I appreciate it.
That
You
was
didn't
good.
say a word.
There it is.
The
There it
Pascal
is.
Show
It's
live
okay.
weekday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Make sure
Unless
you catch
he's-
them right now. Right now.
Unless he has been so kind to come on our show and hang out and laugh with us for a few minutes.
Oh,
Pascal, let us let you get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us, brother.
thank you, brother.
Hey,
Hey, Pascal. No, I'm just playing. Bye, bro. See you later. Deuces.
Pascal look like it. What kind of light?
Hey,
he got?
it's-
Is he brown? Is he brown or light skin?
Who, Pascal?
Yeah.
Oh my.
I'm trying to figure it out.
The colorism of it all. I absolutely
Look, is
look,
he brown or light skin? No, I'm just asking because
I don't know. It depends on how the
little.
lighting can tell. Because if I turn this lighting up a little bit, I'd be like,
But Ben,
You
Ben,
know.
you're kind of in person, you guys. Ben is not as brown as you guys think. The man kind of light.
No?
Literally. There's a picture I
Well,
was
I
looking
do
at
want-
from when we were enslaved at that.
just so I could set the expectations of the audience, we're going to keep the stream going live. It's Friday. We're having fun. We want you to keep having fun with us. So welcome to the after party. But you should consider supporting us by going to patreon.com/like it or not. Rebecca, I apologize.
No, it's fine. No, we all have different. I love how Black people's skin are. I love our skin completely. Like my undertone is orange. I think yours is a bit yellowish. And
You make it
Bubba has
sound
a
like
red-
I'm sickly.
Bubba has a red undertone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you see us with the lighting in different environments, that's why when my light goes off, you're still gonna see me looking kind of orangey or in that ballpark. And then you're gonna see Ben a little bit yellow. He's kind of like his kids are a little bright. He got
I
some
mean,
bright
there
kids.
might be some Caucasus Mountains in our DNA that may have infiltrated our bloodline through the vestiges of slavery, but yeah, I might be a little bit high yellow in real life.
Yeah, and some people when they see me, they instantly believe that I am Hispanics will come and literally start speaking Spanish to me. And they assume that I am Spanish. But And it's funny because I'm like, Black people can be Spanish too. Like I have family who literally are from the Dominican Republic, but we are all one on that island. So it is what it is. But they'll think that I'm from here or there. I'd be standing them like, nope, Haitian. Haitiano, period. What's up?
Haitian.
What we doing? What we doing? And but yeah, but we're all blended and mixed, but you're gonna rep your set, period. But I love the fact that we have just different undertones and different skin colors, and we may be brown, but there's a spectrum. I like the spectrum. I like the spectrum of Black folks because then it can go real dark, and that's beautiful. That's really beautiful too.
One of the best scenes in movie cinematography, period, I don't care what anybody says, is from the movie Belly. And where they had like the black light scene that accentuated that dark-skinned sister's blackness.
Keisha.
Like, ooh. The cinematography, of course, is what I'm talking about. An excellent scene that I think demonstrates the beauty of the spectrum that is Blackness. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And the movie recently, Really Love, on Netflix, the Blackness in that movie, the black that shines on their skin. And let me tell you, it was. And I have nothing against mixed people. Listen to me. I love to see it, but we see it.
That's a hell of a way to start a sentence. My God.
Yeah, no, I want people to know, I don't have anything against white people. But I grew up watching only white movies, seeing white folks.
Right.
And literally.
Right.
Then I grew up seeing them be mixed or light skin or whatever. But in this particular film, we don't see that often where the cinematography, the people, the actors are black or dark skin or brown or whatever, and that had so many shades of beautiful brown people with what hair, natural hair, weaves, all of that, not the curly or whatever, but it gave love to people rocking the fro. It gave love to people rocking some dreads. It gave love to people rocking the crochet. It gave love to braids. It gave love to all that, and I love to see it. I love to see the weave. I love to see the perm. I love to see
what is the name of the show? The sister, I don't want to say her name wrong because I'm about to mess it up. Is it Issa Rae or Issa Rae?
Issa Rae.
Issa Rae's. Yeah. I don't follow
her.
I don't follow her, but I do follow like the technology side of this industry, and they got awards because they were one of the first shows on television who understood how to light black skin, because so many shows for generations, forever, had no clue how. So I'm sorry, forgive me for saying her name wrong. I've never even watched the show, but I do remember reading an article about that. And it reminds me of what you and I went through, Rebecca, at one of those media companies we were with before. We literally had to take them by the hand and say, listen, this is how you light her shade of blackness. And I said, now this is how you light my shade of blackness. But we wouldn't have caught it if we had just left it in the hands of people who don't know how to understand our blackness.
We had to set it that way. And he was someone who
an expert,
professional, professional environments, all that. But when in those professional environments at that time, there were no black people, y'all. None. All he was lighting was white folks or lighter skinned people. So at this time, I'm like, my shade has to be warm. I'm literally being flushed out when you're putting this cool stuff on my skin or whatever, these cool colors on my skin. And, on Ben's side, you had to tell him what you needed. And that's how we had to move forward. And even now in our homes, like, we light ourselves the way that we know we like to be lit. Like,
and such as according to our budget, of course, right?
Right.
Because we can do a whole lot better, but
the light that came with them,
it's hitting you right though.
It's hitting me right. Sometimes it don't, but it's hitting me right because I literally said it this way yesterday and I placed it here. So like it has that warm and it goes to cool, and when it's really hot behind me, I try to do the cooler color or whatever the case may be. But yeah, you gotta light yourself, fool.
You so silly,
Ben, and you definitely have to watch Insecure, bro. You definitely have to check out Insecure.
This is a great time to binge watch it.
I just don't. It really is. Honestly, I have two gears. I have two gears. I'm either grinding to the pulp, or I'm binging, and my habit is I binge science fiction first. So, but yeah, no, I will check it out. There's another movie. I think it is a significant thing that blackness, as we show up in these media spaces, it's like we have to make so many adjustments. because they just have no grounding of understanding, sometimes even our perspectives, let alone how to light our skin. So Rebecca, you just kind of opened up a whole Pandora's box for me there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we have more clips. We have more joy, Black joy. I'm assuming David set up this next clip, or unless one of y'all, who do we have? What do we have?
So this next one is about I think all Black joy, or at least looking for it, and proving the worth of Black people. If I understood the context, you guys can correct me if I'm.
Ooh boy, man, you are a brave white man. Here we go.
I take the trust you guys give me, and
And you run with it.
Hey sis, I love the haircut.
What happened?
We can get the subtitles on it. It didn't come out right, but hold on a second.
Oh, the audio of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, it was a beautiful setup too.
So you want me to read the subtitles?
Yeah, I don't know if you really want to.
This ain't it, because
Yeah,
the
it's
way
not
that
gonna work.
it's being
Yeah.
it's
It's not
very
gonna work.
it's very.
Well, it was a beautifully set up clip, and sometimes
the girl's
yeah.
fly. I'm living
And
for
she
the
was beat to the gods, man. She was like,
fly.
yeah.
So overall, I think it was like it was basically mocking a business meeting, and she was trying to hint at the answer being hiring Black people, putting Black people in leadership, and that type of thing.
Diversity and inclusion.
He tried. I love
Diversity and
that,
inclusion.
David.
The video would have done a much better job than the white man trying to explain the video. But, yeah.
I don't want y'all to think that we're in an abusive relationship with David.
We love
Right.
David be abusive.
But I'm gonna go run with my
we
tail between my legs now.
It's okay, man. We
see
love
how
you.
David did us this morning. David is shady. Okay, he want the
SL.
You don't got time for your conversations. Drop now.
He just
Now.
dropped the intro in the middle of a sentence.
Okay, welcome to Like It or Not.
If you don't get your late behind in order, put this thing on now. I was like, damn.
And it's funny how we talk about late behind. Like anyway, that's Rebecca.
All right, I'm gonna redeem myself with some funny.
Okay, what you got, David? What you got?
Hand sanitizer in stores. This is from Keats.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No
yeah
rap.
well,
I want to talk about this a story so that we can kiki about it.
Just
Okay?
let me know what to load. But
Okay.
This is what we are experiencing, I guess, in the pandemic.
Welcome to the store. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm gonna have to ask you to sanitize your hands. Yeah, no problem. You guys got like a Purell dispenser or something? Oh no, I got you right here. Is that Bacardi? Oh, heavens no. Our company just has a strict recycling policy, so we repurpose the bottle. Okay, but what's inside the bottle? Oh, like I said before, hand sanitizer.
He's a beautiful
Yeah, but why has it got
young
such
man.
a loose viscosity?
Yeah.
Like, it's not even thick. Like, you know what? I'm good on the hand sanitizer.
His skin is very nice.
I'm sorry, sir, but everyone must be sanitized.
He's still behind.
Okay, you're good to go. That's Bacardi.
It's like the teacher in the class with the kid. Listen, you know when the kid loves something so much, they're gonna want to do it over and over. They're gonna pick that same person. That's what David likes. This guy. I like this guy too. I think he's handsome. I think he has great skin.
Yo, you can't come around this show and not be ready to get your head chopped off. Like Rebecca out here just chopping off heads left and right. But that man said loose viscosity. Did y'all hear him say that?
No, but you would hear him say that. Ben definitely.
Why did that shock Ben so much?
No. It's the way he used it. Like, no. I was like,
no, Ben loves.
I love
wordsmiths.
The people who could just like finesse their way through a whole thought, like not loose viscosity.
Yeah.
You will be hearing me use that, so everyone can now know. Forever sight, when you hear me say loose viscosity, this is where I picked it up. Go ahead.
Motherfucking loose viscosity. Listen, let me tell you. So I didn't say the word. It sounds like a penis issue because that's been the whole all week. But
why, Rebecca? We did so good not to go anywhere near that subject.
I'm not. I mean, we could talk about that if you want, but I'm not going near that. I actually wanted to talk about the activist show that. That Usher was going to be one of. This is my thing about it. It's a story that actually took social media by storm when it came out that there. When it came out that there was going to be a activist show, who can be the best activist? It was going to be a competitive activist show featuring Usher, Dang, I forget her name.
What is her name?
Oh man,
Jenner?
I cannot remember.
I'll get it. But but the show has since been scrapped. And now, well, they didn't scrap it all together. Now the network has changed it to, okay, it has become apparent that the format of the show, as announced, distracts from the vital work these incredible activists do in their communities every day. The push for global change is not a competition and requires a global effort. This is from CBS itself. Now, the fact that CBS put this out here, it's the last sentence for me. The push for global change is not a competition and requires a global effort. The fact that they're saying it requires a global effort and it's not a push for competition, but they still had this on the docket on the table. They were literally pushing this around they already had the idea ready to set it up to be a show. This is what gives me the issue right here. I see the other women in it, and I know they all have issues with activism in some way. She's probably more on the feminist side, and I forget the woman in the middle, but she's probably an issue with immigration and things like that. And we have Usher, who knows in America, who knows what it's like to be a black man. There is nothing competitive about pushing for help and assistance. But the thing is, that is exactly what activism has become. That is exactly what activism has become, a competition. And we've seen that a lot of times people get on social media and will use their platform and continuously push a good sentence for the day. And then another activist will push another sentence for the day. And it's how they both are reacting to this particular situation. It causes more division than togetherness. And when you are an activist, you should be pushing for togetherness, not division. And these people, I know they may stand for something. And if you're going to do a show, I mind you, I do not think at all at any point to an activism show or whatever be competitive. But if you're gonna do a show, yeah, you should have started with a documentary, because there's so many activists right now who need to be covered. Right. Who see the work that Chuck Modi is doing, and he's been covering a lot of these activists. He knows them by name. He has a relationship with them. He understands their stories. He knows that some of them have been out there for years, and since they were kids, and he's watching them grow up. He's watching everybody fight on the block for something. All of them for something. And they should partner with him, get his footage and utilize that as activists on the ground doing something. We see Georgia Ford on the ground doing what she needs to do as a journalist. And in the same time, she's doing activism work. She has a purpose in what she does, and she's doing it on her own. She's what we call a one-man band in journalism world. And she's doing that by herself. So this is what I am saying for that particular show. It should have never hit the table. CBS now saying that they not that
now they saw the light. Now they saw the light.
Ben knew this was never supposed to be, but somebody greenlit that. Somebody said that was okay. And the fact that they tried to do representation here with the black man, with this woman, she's married to Nick Jonas. That's all I know.
Yes.
With this black man, with this woman, and she was an actor and she was on that police show. And then we have this white woman. We need the diversity. But right now with these different causes, not the most important one, I should say, but the one that is so big and loud but doesn't get much done for it is the black cause. So Usher being the stand-up guy in the middle of this, who's a musician, what representation did he really have in this moment? And why would he say okay to this specific thing? It is sad. And we were going out bad. My God, we were going out bad, y'all. We was really going out bad.
How did they think, is what I think I hear you saying, and I want to ask the same question. How did they think this was going to be a good idea? Who told them that this was going to be a good idea? Who fooled y'all?
Somebody saw the protests and everything and thought that it was a good idea to have a competition. Stupid as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Hunger Games for liberation is what that what y'all want? Well, not today, Satan.
Rebecca.
The ruling is in, and Rebecca has stepped away from her screen. It has been before we do that, y'all. Thank y'all. I want to thank y'all because I have laughed more today than I think I've laughed in a long time. It was therapeutic. I really appreciate y'all joy. So you could fade in music over me and Rebecca at any point you're ready, because otherwise we're going to run our mouths. It is Friday.
This Friday, I'm out of here.
And it's time to go somewhere. Y'all have a great weekend.
Yeah. Love y'all, mean it.
Love you guys, mean it.
It's hard to breathe, yeah, I think I need to break out. I don't know what to say now, because everything I do this don't.
All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all so much, man. Again, thank y'all for a beautiful, beautiful week. And if you have not already, make sure you go join patreon.com/likeitnornot or patreon.com/the BPD show, man. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all so much. And thank y'all for everything. Justice Draconis, good morning, Justice. And before I go, affirmation for the day. Affirmation for the day. I harness my potential to create an amazing new chapter in my life. Again, I harness my potential to create an amazing new chapter in my life. Y'all go be great. Love y'all, mean it. We will see y'all on Monday. Deuces.
Baby, you don't wanna act right. Give your chance after chance and you blew it. All you wanna do is pick a fight. And I had to be the bigger man. Always saying what I don't do. Give you everything I had, still it ain't enough. I got this feeling I'll be much better on my own. There you go. With apologies, it's alright. You don't mean it. And I don't wanna try no more now.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/the BPD Show.
Dear Americans, this July 4th, dream of insurrection against corporate rule. Occupy Wall Street. In mid-July, Counterculture magazine Adbusters follows its tweet with a call to action. Occupy Wall Street, September 17th. Bring tent. Citizens travel from across the country to meet up with activists in New York as Mayor Michael Bloomberg prepares for a protest. 2,000 protesters descend on Lower Manhattan. The New York City Police Department blocks Wall Street, and the protesters move to Zuccotti Park, where a culture of consensus takes root. A few cans of pepper spray, an army of citizen journalists, and close to 1,000 arrests are about to change everything.
We saw in the video you being sort of surrounded and just sprayed in the face.
Police test boundaries and pile hundreds into paddy wagons, and the world begins to watch.
Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street.
Wall Street. Obviously, I've heard of it. I've seen it on television.
New Occupy camps form around the world. People want to express themselves, says Bloomberg, and as long as they obey the laws, we allow them to. On October 15th, the so-called Day of Rage, impassioned citizens march in more than 80 cities around the world. One percenters post messages of solidarity. Meanwhile, pressure mounts for city officials to control protests. Dressed in riot gear and armed with tear gas and rubber bullets, police raid Occupy Oakland before dawn on October 25th. Headlines blast news about Scott Olson, an Iraq war vet injured by police. Days later, Oakland protesters strike back with a general strike. 10 days later, it's eviction day in New York City. Occupations in other cities around the world are evicted. On November 17th, mobilized by crushed camps and torn tents, protesters around the globe turn out for 2-month anniversary celebrations. Protesters find other ways to occupy. Occupy our homes. Occupy the primaries. Occupy Congress. Occupy the SEC. Meanwhile, Occupy's income inequality message goes mainstream. 2012 opens with one of Occupy's most violent encounters. New arrests top 400 in Oakland. On March 17th, protesters stream back into Zuccotti Park, celebrating the 6-month anniversary of the Occupy movement. After night falls, however, police declare the park closed. March 24th, Occupy participants march to Union Square, declaring, "Let freedom spring." 7 months of protests. Millions of tweets, 7,000 arrests, more than 100 U.S. cities. Occupy Wall Street.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Jonathan Smucker. He is an organizer, professor, and author of the book, How to Hegemony, How To. a roadmap for radicals. Brother Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Benjamin. It's great to be back talking with you again.
The pleasure is always ours. Listen, 10 years ago, I had a newborn, and I remember like watching from a distance, frustrated because I couldn't be at what I believed to be one of the most important gatherings and protests and moments in American history. Tell us about Occupy Wall Street and where you were throughout that entire event.
Yeah, well, yeah, and what a 10 years it's been since then. So I'll tell you the truth. Leading up to Occupy, I saw the Adbusters call, and I enjoyed Adbusters magazine, the countercultural magazine, and everything, but I didn't think that they knew anything about organizing, to be honest. And I was skeptical. Like I think a lot of organizers were skeptical before it happened, not because we didn't deeply agree with the politics, but we just, like a lot of times there's often, as you know, calls to action that never amount to anything. And so I was kind of in the boat of like, that's probably what this is going to be. But then, I think it was humbling in that regard, in that, so I had already been through the global justice movement and the anti-war movement and a lot of organizing in times before Occupy, before the past 10 years, when movements were small and we seemed to be kind of up against the culture. It was like the end of history. There was no alternative. And so, I could see everything that could go wrong. And you kind of needed a crop of young folks who didn't know any better. And they made the call, and they did a bunch of planning, and they took an audacious action. And it didn't take off right away. It took a couple of weeks. A couple hundred occupying Zuccotti Park turned in on the first day, September 17th. It turned into about 300 people, turned into about 3,000 people. And then through persistence and through, and they marched on Wall Street every day, every morning, and it took persistence and some missteps from the NYPD that, with police brutality, that finally it broke into, after a couple of weeks, it broke into the mainstream news cycle. And
you mentioned a couple of protests that you were part of prior, and it's important for us to put this in context of like the timeline, because I do remember the 2001 to 2003 anti-war movement, particularly in the build up to Iraq, and how many people opposed that. Occupy Wall Street 2010 or 2011. It was what would you say? How would you help people to understand why it happened and then why it was so important?
Yeah, a couple things I'll say. One, just that historical backdrop of the 80s and 90s when there wasn't much going on. I mean, I came of age in the mid 90s, and really, I dove into kind of subcultural or countercultural pockets of the left, and there wasn't much. It was hard to find mentors. It was hard to learn how to be an organizer. It felt like we were really insular in these small kind of enclaves, like just keep on keeping on was the kind of feeling. And then the global justice movement hit with the shutdown of the World Trade Organization ministerial meetings on November 30th of 1999. And it really blew up, and it really tapped into a lot of popular anger against, free trade deals like NAFTA, like the multilateral agreement on investments, which was actually defeated in the 90s, and the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, the World Trade Organization, the World Bank. So it tapped into a lot of that, and we had this window from November 30th, 1999, until less than 2 years later, September 11th, 2001. And it's September 11th, obviously its own huge tragedy in this country. But one of the things that those of us who were in the global justice movement were also experienced the abrupt closing of a window. Because when that happened, that movement was over just like that. There wasn't political space for it anymore. And a lot of us just shifted gears right away to start organizing against war because of the escalation against Afghanistan, which clearly ended up being a absolutely failed war, like a lot of us warned, and then Iraq. And so it's wild that Occupy Wall Street was literally 10 years and a day short of a week after this window closed.
That's right.
And also literally like a couple blocks from the site of the trade towers.
That's right.
So it was really this reopening, and very important, because even with the global justice movement, in retrospect, I think was ahead of its time, right? There was like nothing going on, and suddenly we had a microphone and we're able to voice these things. But the failures of neoliberalism, the failures of the economic policies, deregulation, tax giveaways to the rich, all these different policies under Reaganism had kind of come to fruition, and the suffering and the strain caused by those policies wasn't at full fruition in 1999, 2000, right? It was starting to surface, right? People were starting to feel that pain. And it kept getting worse, but it wasn't, nobody saw it. There was no media narrative around it. And then the financial crisis happens. And so this is kind of getting back to the moment, right? Financial crisis happens 2008, 2009, and it's a total disaster. And, trillions of wealth disappears, retirement funds of a lot of working class people, people underwater in their mortgages, and nobody's held accountable, right? Like, we had a lot of hope. I had a lot of hope in the Obama administration that like we were going to turn a page. And, what happens? There's some stuff, but they bring in Tim Geithner, Larry Summers, people who helped create this crisis that caused so much hardship. They bring them into the administration. And even though I think Obama ran a populist campaign to get elected, it was insurgent. It was inspiring. He told a story of America from the perspective of abolitionists, suffragettes, people who fought to become part of the polity who were excluded from it. He told a people's history story of America, but then he got into office, and his style, and I think his Achilles heel of his administration, was he tended to make peace with the powerful instead of picking open fights. And a lot of those young people who volunteered for him and then didn't see any repercussions for the people who were guilty of this colossal failure, so nobody stood up. And so I think 3 years later, this group of young people, mostly young people, not just young people, sets up this defiant occupation at the doorstep of the culprits of the system. And, it's basically like erecting a giant middle finger on the doorstep of Wall Street. And just to land this plane, I think a lot of people were watching and we're like, oh, it seems kind of countercultural. Like, oh, these kids are like, they're kind of weird looking, and I don't know what this is about. But you know what? At least somebody is standing up to these I don't know,
and overlords. You've given so much rich history in terms of how Occupy Wall Street came to be. I guess my next question would be, where have you seen the evolution over the last 10 years? What have you seen become of it? And where does it stand today?
That's a really great question. In a lot of ways, I think it's right to give. One, I think it's always right to give credit. Movements don't just start from nowhere. Like there's people involved. There are people involved with Occupy, like me, who were involved with the global justice movement, the anti-war movement. There's always crossover. But I think Occupy, in some ways, does deserve some credit for helping to inaugurate this era of the past 10 years of a social movement renaissance. And some of the very specific people were involved in both Occupy and, say, like the Movement for Black Lives, people like Sandy Nurse and Nalini Stamp and a lot of other folks, right? So some of the very particular individuals have carried on to become involved in other movements. And the Bernie Sanders campaign, it was occupiers and DSA members, Democratic Socialists of America, who Bernie wasn't planning to run for president in 2016. People persuaded him to. And I think Occupy Wall Street really created the rhetorical kind of backdrop that made a Bernie Sanders run viable, like, you know, and to the surprise of both leftists and of the establishment, to the excitement of you know, us people who were involved with Occupy, and to the like horror and panic of the Democratic establishment. But I think that Occupy really did help to, I mean, I've never seen before or since such a shift.
That's right.
In the common sense, you know, it was like we were in an era where it was like the end of history. Greed is good. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. The American dream, upward mobility, and upward mobility had come to a halt a long time before, but there hadn't been an intervention that made meaning of that for people, and Occupy made that meaning.
Brother Jonathan, you mentioned the end of history several times here. And I want to couch the last question to you, kind of provoking or evoking in that sense, Francis Fukuyama. I want to know, what do you think the future is of not just the Occupy movement, but the movement in general? One of the things you said offline, which we both totally agree with, is that the left is too small for us to be fighting each other. And when we say the left, we talk about those people who are fighting for liberation, fighting for equality, fighting for justice, Medicare for all, those types of things. My question to you is, what is the future of these movements if we are not at the end of history?
Yeah, well, I think since Occupy, people have been getting really serious about building power, developing leadership. You know, Occupy, a lot of people remarked like, oh, it's allergic to organization. It doesn't want to do an electoral strategy. They don't believe in leaders. And they're like, and a lot of people were like, oh, that's the future of movements. Well, it turned out not to be. People got pretty serious about building leadership, building organization, building capacity, and electoral strategy, and bridging between outside movement strategy and inside. And it's not just inside, like insurgent candidates who take on the Democratic Party establishment. So people have gotten serious. New projects like Justice Democrats, like Sunrise Movement, and old projects getting new waves of energy, like Democratic Socialists of America, like organizations like People's Action, and organizations like I co-founded, Pennsylvania Stands Up and Lancaster Stands Up. And so people are getting serious about building that strategy. I think what I would end on here is I want to put this at the Democratic Party, because from within the left, from having spent my whole adult life trying to build the left, to me, it's an open question whether we're going to be able to build fast enough to take over in the way that we need to. I don't know if we'll be able to. I don't know. But what the Democratic Party should stop doing is treating the left like Mayor Bloomberg treated Occupy Wall Street. Mayor Bloomberg treated Occupy Wall Street like this is just some kids in the park. I can evict them and bulldoze them and the problem will go away. The Democratic Party is treating the left that way. They're saying, oh, it's just about these leftists, these insignificant people who are making a ruckus on Twitter, etc. And they're trying to defeat the left. It's not about the left any more than the strain that working people are in was about Occupy Wall Street. It wasn't about the kids in the park, right? It's about a crisis that working people are going through. And you can defeat the messenger. You can kill the messenger. Maybe the Democratic Party will succeed. But if they do that, it will be to their detriment, because authoritarianism is what will rise and continue to consolidate if there is not a party that is fighting for working people.
Yeah, that's right. You can kill the messenger, but you can't kill the message. You can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. Brother Jonathan Smucker, author of the book Hegemony How To, a Roadmap for Radicals. Thank you so much for joining us and helping us recall and reflect on the future of the Occupy movement.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for talking.
Pleasure's ours.
Something to buy the button, yeah. The button, set the potato, boy, sunlight that always stays. Dinner by the waterway. It's that sweet life. Raise your cross. Made some dude crack a smile. He asked if I could stay a while. I'm living that high life. Time to catch a flight, but you can make me go. Unlocking all the memories of my new home. Ventilated echoes playing to and fro. Back and forth, yeah. Caught some kids dancing in the alleyway. Crazy how the melodies began to play, yeah. Tell me how you feel it when you hear the lyric, yeah. My heart's in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. I left my heart in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. Shopping the girl, I brought a girl on my Vespa. She said I already told ya, yeah. I never dated a black guy. I said you're brown yourself. Let me offer help. Come on inside. Where everybody knows your name. Everybody knows your name. Time to catch a flight, but you can make me go. Unlocking all the memories of my new home. Ventilated echoes playing to and fro. Back and forth, yeah. Caught some kids dancing in the alleyway. Crazy how the melodies began to play, yeah. Tell me how you feel it when you hear the lyric, yeah. My heart's in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. I left my heart in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. Separate again. Sunlight that always stays in by the waterway. It's that sweet life, sweet life, sweet life. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm, Stockholm. I never wanna go home, go home. Living in Stockholm, Stockholm. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm, Stockholm. Yeah. Shut up, I got the bed, the bed. Never get good, never get good, gotten, good, good. Good, 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 good. Bye, da, 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 da.